This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Thrown under the bus.
No. Always live, always real, always unpredictable.
I'm not okay with that.
It sounded good when I thought.
Log on and join our live conversation.
Yes, I don't like
right.
that.
You're 100% right. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to Daily Blast Live. It's Monday, August 19th. I am here with Stephanie, Al, Brandon. I am Tori. Sam is off today. Let's get right to it, guys. Authorities stopped 3 mass shootings, all because of tips from the public. First, in Florida, authorities arrested this man. On Friday, he had sent his ex-girlfriend a series of texts allegedly threatening to commit a mass shooting. She turned the text over to authorities. Here's what authorities had to say about it.
This is how it's supposed to work. You see something, say something. Law enforcement does their job. We seize his weapons. He's under arrest.
And in Ohio, this 20-year-old was arrested for allegedly threatening to shoot up a Jewish community center. His Instagram account showed a man firing a gun, and that ultimately led to his arrest. Now, a search of his home revealed several weapons, including 2 AR-15 style rifles, body armor, and a gas mask, including, of course, that ammo that you see there. And in Connecticut, police arrested this 22-year-old after he allegedly posted about committing mass murder on Facebook. First of all, I feel like I'm just like reading the same script over and over and over again. It's the same looking guy, but they are often telling people before they're doing it. My question to you guys is, do they want to get caught? Usually people who ask for help or threatening suicide, you say it's a call for help. Is that what they're doing here? Because all 3 of them did something by notifying someone.
I don't know if they want to get caught. I think that they're trying to embolden their community. I think they sell on these chat sites that are pretty much out in the open. You can find these anywhere. These people are commiserating on the internet. The FBI knows where to find them. Obviously, if those 3 goofballs could find them, they're not, on the deep dark web.
Right.
They're communicating with each other. They're sharing ideas. They're talking about where they're going to practice shooting. They're exchanging techniques. They're exchanging how to get the most people in the least amount of time. They're exchanging what weapons are best to use to get the most amount of Jews or blacks or Mexicans, and they're executing them. But
why post it on Facebook before doing it?
Because I was reading a website for an FBI profiler, and she said that mass shooters leave a trail of outbursts, threats, and fixations.
Okay.
So it's kind of like he said, they're emboldening themselves and their whoever their base is, and they're rallying together, and they're like, yeah, heck yeah, dude, go do this, go do that. But when you're telling like an ex-girlfriend or something like that, you're trying to make her scared as well. You're trying to put fear in people in your immediate
You're trying
life.
to terrorize.
You're trying to terrorize.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So in this day and age, I know growing up, Al, people would be like, oh, you're a snitch if you tattletale. Don't tattletale. See something, say something is not tattletelling, because that second guy, you see the smirk he had on his face, you see the Confederate flag he had, and then a patch that said Middleton Police on it. I'm wondering what that was all about as well.
Now,
so see something, say something is not snitching.
I agree. I also saw he was part of the 2017 Charlottesville walk around when they had the tiki torches.
Very fine people.
Very fine people. So interesting to see that those people are now creating.
And remember the chant, the Jews will not replace us.
Oh, I remember that.
What was the target?
Synagogue.
Interesting, interesting. Wow. Let us know what you guys think about all this. I know a lot of you wrote and said, I feel like now it's just so normalized, and we agree here on the panel. Well, a Texas man, speaking of better news, lost his partner of 22 years in the El Paso mass shooting, but he was so afraid no one would show up to her funeral, as he had no family, so Antonio Basco decided to invite the world to attend the service. Hundreds of strangers all showed up. Mr. Basco did not have to bury his partner alone, and the world got to hear of their love and to celebrate Margie Record's life. It was a touching moment. But then again on Saturday, this happened. The SUV belonging to Margie Record was stolen, and when it was finally recovered yesterday, it had been badly vandalized. So first question, do you think this was targeted?
I think so, didn't you?
Yeah,
It
did look
I mean, it didn't
specific.
look like, first of all, that's not really the car that you would use if you're going to use it at a chop shop.
Yeah.
Flip
Right.
it and try and resell it. That car was an older model, and it wasn't look like it was used to do anything. It wasn't used to commit a crime. It looked like it had been hit with a bat several times. Why else would you smash the windshield in the front like that?
It looks like someone's gone joyriding in
Right.
it and really bashed it about.
Right, and I mean, I find it hard to believe that just out of a haystack they picked that car.
Yeah.
Again, it's a continued, sustained terrorist threat that's put upon the entire community saying, we are still here, even when you mourn. It's what gang members do. Sometimes they'll go and shoot up a funeral saying, even though we killed this guy, we still want his mama to know we're still in these streets. That's what the mafia does. They go up and shoot up the casket just to let you know this person did something.
Organized in that way, right?
Very much so.
Should we feel good at least about the hundreds of people coming out?
So obviously, in support of this gentleman, this is the most beautiful thing you can do. He's just lost the love of his life. He has no family. He's alone. So thank you from the bottom of my heart to anyone who does this. This is
it's a beautiful
so
thing to see.
kind, and what a wonderful gesture. But for you guys at home, obviously we just spoke about the car being stolen, and Al believes it's for a certain reason, but we do hear about burglaries a lot when there's a funeral or when someone goes away, particularly with a funeral, because people write notices in newspapers to let people know about it. Exactly.
It's very publicized.
And online, so people are very aware of who's passed and who's going to be out of town. And sadly, this is something we've seen for many, many years. It's awful. So things you can do, viewers, if you are at home or you're going to go to visit anyone or go to a funeral, leave lights on, make it look as though someone's there when you're not. Maybe if you can get a house sitter or someone to check in would be great, and hide all your valuables.
So smart. So smart. I know it's also a vulnerable time. I know people's jewelries have been stolen when loved ones are dying, so thank you for bringing that up. And to the man who, he said to his wife every day, he brings flowers to her grave every day, and he says, I wonder what you're doing up there, and I wish you could tell me today. He says it every day. Aww. I know. Whew. Well, we do have some breaking news, remember, live show, so we got this in for you. Just in, the officer in the Eric Garner case in New York has been fired. Daniel Pantaleo has let go as a New York police officer after legal findings and recommendations found he can no longer effectively serve. He will not receive his pension. He had been accused of fatally choking Eric Garner in 2014, but last month, Attorney General William Barr declined to bring federal charges against him. I, for one, I don't care if you're with me, I have a huge round of applause for him to be fired. I'm sorry. And you don't have to clap, and we can debate this. In my mind, that man murdered that man, and on the stand to the judge, he said he did not use a chokehold. Again, the video clearly shows he clasped even harder when another officer came. He said, I can't breathe 11 infamous times. And again, if you are near something while this is happening, guess what saved Eric Garner's family? The video that a friend took. So always use that camera.
I get you all are clapping. I get it. He got fired and all, but his family had to chokehold the system just to get to this point right here. Because if William Barr wouldn't bring up federal charges, that's what they really think. They really, when they say we're gonna back our blue, it's like a you against us sort of mentality. So instead of saying that, hey, this particular police officer was wrong and was criminally negligent, they're just going to be like, oh no, we're not going to bring up charges.
It's a fair point.
We're not going to face charges.
It's a fair point.
He's going to end up in Wichita, Kansas, or Pennsylvania somewhere, like with a new firm or a new police department.
Or a security guard.
Or a security guard
if you
somewhere.
don't know what Brandon's saying, is for 5 years, the Garner family's been asking questions. For 5 years, he's been on desk duty getting money this whole time. So the judge, if you read the review, and I've read the opinion, says he lied. He was grossly unfitting for a police officer of New York. And I'm just very happy that happened.
So at least we know what it takes to get fired. Murder somebody on camera. So that's the bar.
It's a really good point. It's a very fair point. Wow, let's leave it at that. Well, millions of people are going to be dealing with unusually hot weather today. Kelly Schuberth, you've got that news at the moment.
I do, Tori. It is hot, hot, hot. Around 60 million people are under some sort of heat advisory right now, from Colorado all the way to the East Coast. Now in Washington, D.C., it could feel as hot as 100 degrees, while Denver could break a record high today. NOAA says this past June and July were the hottest ever for those respective months, and it looks like we could be dealing with the same for August. DBL Nation, I'd love to know what the weather's like where you are. Tweet me using the hashtag dbltake.
Yeah, I just read the New York Times. Guess what? They're in Phoenix. They're hiking at night because it's 94, and at least it's not that hot.
Yeah, I was there. I was in Phoenix visiting Frank, my buddy Frank Caliendo. We do a podcast together, and every single day I was there, I looked at my Apple Watch. It was 107 all 5 days of the week.
And that was, it's like uninhabitable.
Almost, yeah.
Wow. All right.
You don't have any pool party stories?
No, I think I asked him about that because it was the 4th of July, and you forget how regional things are. He was like, we're not firing up the grill.
No, you can't.
Wait,
So
it's
like,
hot.
the 4th of July is not a big
do.
deal in places like Arizona because, first of all, you can't shoot fireworks because it's a desert area,
Yeah,
and
and
if it touches
things
the
on
grass,
fire.
it'll start over, and
Start a mass
one,
fire.
yeah, and no one's gonna go out and be like, let's make some hot dogs at 108.
Let's
So,
go
yeah,
outside and burn up the
Flip
Barbie.
those burgers, Dan.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Plus-size supermodel Ashley Graham is well known for celebrating her body. Last Wednesday, she announced she's expecting her first child, Mazel Tov. She's now following up with this. It's a nude Instagram photo showing off her stretch marks. The caption says, same, but a little different. And fans are praising her, like one person who wrote, I freaking love you for this. This is what real women look like. Steph, I want to go straight to you. I'm not sure. I think men could understand, but we've seen decades of super wafy thin people, and this is what I look like when I'm naked and I lean over.
I think that's what the majority of people look like, let's be honest.
So is it not just so refreshing to you, or is it not a big deal? Or is it annoying?
I don't find it annoying whatsoever, and I'm really grateful that Ashley does post pictures like this because I think it's very important for women in power or with a big following to continue to do things like this, to set a precedent and a standard. It's not the first time we've seen it, but a point that you made very clear to me earlier, actually, I mentioned Chrissy Teigen and Hilary Duff, and you said, but those women don't have this body.
Yeah, that's a role, and I have a role, you know, and I think people with roles know what role I'm talking about.
But
they roll women.
But stretch marks are normal, they're beautiful. We should just celebrate our bodies. But I understand exactly what you're saying, what the internet's saying. We don't see enough of this. It's not normalized enough, even though it's on every single one of us.
But you don't take it as like somebody trying to couch it so they can kind of show their body off?
No.
Because
I don't think
honestly,
that.
look, I know, like let's say this. Let's say I had six-pack abs. Let's say I had that.
Which you
I do not. And so I can't just put that on the internet because I'm going to get embarrassed. So what do I say? I'd be like, I'm doing 100,000 crunches for United Way. And I'm standing there like this, six-pack, glistening baby oil, but I'm like, this is for the United Way. This is to raise cancer research. I don't know if those two things are together. We know what a pregnant woman looks like. I think if you want to show pictures of your body, like most models want to, which is what they're supposed to do, to couch it in a narrative that makes it seem like you're doing it for another reason, absolves you from any personal responsibility of just saying, I think I look good. So I'm like, hey, this is for the kids in Afghanistan. Like, I don't know if I buy that.
Well, I don't know if that's true or not, but what I did is I appreciate that role. And anyone with a role knows that role.
I think every single one of us is, let's be honest, even if you do have a six-pack and you lean over, you're going to have a roll.
That's when you really have when you have a six-pack when you're sitting down, you made it.
Yeah, you made it. That's true. All right, TBL is live. And coming up, a school administrator goes above and beyond for his students and turns his office into a barber shop. It's a very sweet Heartthreads. And you guys, you're the viewer, you're our fifth host. Should moms and dads have to take mandatory parenting classes? What about getting a license? Your comments are coming up next.
Kelly Schuworth here with the DBL Digital team. Happy Monday. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to go to the desk and see what's going on with our hosts. Let us know how your weekend was in the comments. Hey guys, what's happening up here?
What's up, buddy?
Happy Monday.
Thank you.
What's up?
So we actually had a comment from Hugh Bien. I hope I'm saying that right, on YouTube, and he said mostly women seem to have an issue with women's bodies. So, like, we actually are doing it to ourselves is kind of what I think he's trying to say.
And that's valid to a point, and then it's like totally not valid.
Yeah, but it's also not valid too.
Yeah.
Because if you see a girl who has a little bump like this, like, look, I'll just be super honest, right? I'm just
Everyone
feeling bloated
has it.
today.
Let's be honest.
Right.
Everyone has
If a
it.
woman
Yeah.
walked out like that and I'm super famous, it's, does she have a baby bump? Is she pregnant?
Yeah,
it's
is she
like,
pregnant?
it can't just be
Like,
a
no,
fluctuating.
it's my normal body. Or I just eaten a huge bowl of pasta, and it was delicious.
Oh man, I want pasta now.
No, I'm not. I actually full on had a pasta baby yesterday. I did this really long photo shoot. It was on for hours and hours and hours, and it finished, and I hadn't eaten breakfast because
Starved.
I was in all these outfits and I couldn't eat, and I didn't want to, make things messy. Anyway, afterwards I was like, I need to eat, and I need to eat now. And I don't normally eat gluten, so when I do, it does make me like a little, pregnant.
Mine's like third trimester is what happens to me.
So I went to North Italia, which is an Italian restaurant in Cherry Creek, which is nearby. Anyway, I ate my body weight in spaghetti bolognese, and it was unbelievable.
So good.
And
When you're starving.
I didn't care
that it was because they do gluten free, and I was like, give me the I want the real pasta, like give me the pasta. And when I left, I did look like I was having a baby.
See, all right, now you're a spaghetti girl. See, I'm a ravioli guy.
Oh, really?
At an Italian place, stuffed ravioli, yeah.
What is your dream stuffing? Because some people like spinach.
I like spinach and feta.
Spinach and feta?
Yeah.
How gracious.
Spinach and cheese, I like that too.
Do you know what else happened? So literally, I ate it. I got home at about 4 o'clock, and I was asleep until 8 o'clock at night because I had
a pasta coma.
I had a pasta coma.
Those carbs.
You know what I did on the airplane is right before you're supposed to have, well, you're not supposed to have a glass of wine right before, but I did, and then pasta because it makes you sleepy.
Yes.
Dude, I just enjoy the carbs.
What a great idea.
Welcome back to DBL. It's time for Fifth Host when we talk about what you're talking about. Well, babies don't come with instructions, but mandatory parenting classes, could they be the answer? You need a license to drive a car and a permit to own a gun. But with the hot topic of parent shaming and so many tragic stories of child neglect, DBL Nation, should parenting require training and certification to obtain a license?
All right, let's get to these comments. DBL Nation, Mike from Facebook says, what were the requirements for this? And what happens if you don't pass the test? Is the state going to come in or CYS going to come in and take the baby away from you if you don't pass that test?
That's a good point.
So that's a great question, Mike. I just look at it as a sense of, from what I'm hearing from parents, is you're never ready to have a kid. It's just life kind of makes you adapt to that role. So just have, programs and stuff put in place so people can have some sort of means to be able to raise and take care of babies.
I agree.
Babies.
All right. Marie from Facebook says, there's no question in my mind that many, many people should not be parents. But there are also many people I trust to devise and regulate a licensing system. I think licensing, that word just kind of scares people.
Yeah.
I think just with anything, Brandon, you play pro ball. What if they just say, hey, you can't be ready for the NFL, so just get out there and try and do something on the field? No. You prepare for months before you go do something that you and your coaches deem as important.
Yep.
So is football more important than babies? Is driving a car more important in our future? I don't think so. We make sure that you're ready and prepared for that. I don't know what's wrong with making sure people are ready and prepared for childbirth.
Would Al, when you had your first child, be okay with a license that he had to get? Like a younger Al?
I would, especially, you don't know everybody's home and their situation. I obviously had family members that had children before that I could lean on because I knew nothing, but some people don't have that. Some people are just two single teens and they're by themselves. Maybe they've been kicked out of the house or ostracized from the family, and they really don't know what to do, and I think this could be really helpful.
All right.
Tasha from Facebook says adoptive and foster parents have to go through a whole process to prove they're worthy of raising a child. Why not? You know what? That's fantastic. I didn't even think of that, to be honest, until I just read your comment, Tasha. Thank you. You know what? I know that I personally would really appreciate guidance and help. Even if my mum, my grandma, anyone could offer me advice, I would just like to know that there's a secondary source that's not going to judge me and teach me things that I might need help with. But what I'd like to see is the government subsidising work days, because a weekend is going to be so much going on. You're working all week. If you want people to do this, you've got to help them out.
I love that. Invest in those people. I love that. Lillian from Facebook says, yes, people should have to take a class, pass a test, and periodically prove that they are fit to be entrusted with children. A lot of you kind of convinced me more of that. I don't like anything with government and licensing, like private individuals. I don't like that because it becomes a bit dictatory in that way. But I do understand a subsidized parenting class or a tax credit if you take a parenting class could really help young people who can't afford
it. Who's going to teach this class? And someone's going to push their ideology on to these parents. So, like you said, you don't want government being...
It's not about being ideology. It's like basic tasks. How to change a diaper, how to heat up a bottle, what to do if your child chokes, how many people know what to do, how to perform CPR on a baby.
I think a lot of people are just like, I can't get my kid to stop crying. Is something wrong with it? Am I doing something wrong? Just basic things.
And how to regulate yourself if you go crazy.
Cool.
I've heard. Well, journalists and drama, there's a new show coming to Apple TV. Raquel Villanueva, you have details at the moment.
I sure do, Tori. The morning show is ripped straight from some of the biggest headlines in news today, and it stars Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon.
Mitch Kessler, my co-host and partner of 15 years, was fired today.
Her sell-by date expired years ago. I want you to start grooming some new people.
I don't fit the mold.
What mold is that?
Any mold, really?
Now, the morning show will come out when Apple's new streaming service launches this fall.
So it's about a talk show about women?
I'm excited. This is like DBL. Well, I say that, you know, let's hope that it's.
Yeah,
let's see what happens.
There's never any drama here. It's always just smooth sailing.
Smooth sailing.
Oh, you know.
There was that one time.
Coming up on DBL.
Save it for the break.
Being sent to the principal's office is usually a bad thing, but not at this school. Find out why in Heart Threads. It's an awesome one coming up next.
Hey, welcome back to Beauty Blast, guys. I'm Jeray for the Slay, and while we're here, let's go ahead and pull up those search bars, type in J-A-R-A-Y for the Slay, all one word, my friends, on all your social media platforms so we can be friends. Back to business. Welcome back to Beauty Blast, guys. Today, we're talking about some red light beauty tips and some of my favorite ways to save some time while you're getting ready. Today, though, I want to talk about traveling with your beauty tips. Now, when you're traveling with your beauty products, it's important not to overpack. Now, I know, anything could happen while you're on vacation, whether you're at the beach, in the mountains, whatever you may. You want to make sure that you have everything that you need, but you don't need to overpack. So that's why I went ahead and made a little list for us so that we all know the expectation and that we're not just carrying a toolkit around with us, okay? Now, number one, you want to bring the eye essentials. So some of my eye essentials are going to be a mascara. Full size or travel size is okay. If you need a travel size, check your local Sephora or even ask at a counter if there might be a sample size that you can try out before your actual vacation, okay? So you can do a travel size mascara. You can do a little bit of an eyeliner. I prefer to do a pencil liner when I'm traveling just because it's going to help to make sure that you have more flexibility with your looks. Now, another thing that I would recommend for eyes is one eyeshadow stick. Choose one and just make it neutral. So this way you can kind of be more flexible with your looks, whether it be more of a bronze, a blush color, or cream. You can kind of have a little bit more diversity with your looks by using a blush or bronzer, which we'll get to next. Now, another thing that you can do is get an all-in-one blush, bronzer, and highlight palette. These guys are great to make sure that you're all ready to go for any look. And last but not least, don't forget a tinted moisturizer. It has your SPF and your hydration. So guys, let me know if these beauty tips worked for your travel, and go ahead and write me in at Jeray for the Slay on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever.
Today's Heart Threads is all about a school leader who goes above and beyond. Watch how an assistant principal is using his barbering skills to enhance his students' self-esteem. This assistant principal connects with students through free haircuts. LaShawn Mathis is an administrator at a South Carolina high school. He learned how to cut hair in college to pay his way through school. Today, he gives free haircuts to students at his school. It's a way to connect with students and get to know them.
You talk to anybody, they enjoy sitting in the barbershop. They enjoy the conversations in the barbershop. The truths come out in the barbershop.
He's always been there. You know, my pops passed when I was 15. So, I mean, ever since, you know, he passed, I could always count on Mr. Mathis to be here for me. I can come in and talk to him about anything.
Mr. Mathis helps the students gain confidence and learn life skills.
Just being able to see them actually understand some of the tidbits that I was actually telling them about in middle school, and actually now they're applying it now, it's like, whoa.
Way to connect with your students, Mr. Mathis. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
Hi DBL Nation, it's Raquel here, and Chris and I saw Good Boys.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't even know how to start this. It's about a group of 12-year-old boys who one of them really wants to go to a kissing party, and there's a lot of melee along the way. It involves drones, it involves drugs, and it involves a lot of stuff that I don't think 12-year-olds should be into, but I know they're into, and I'm kind of freaked out because I don't want to think about my future kids being like this, but they are.
Pulls back the curtain.
So were boys growing up, were boys really like that?
It's also about the pursuit of drugs by high schoolers or college students? High schoolers.
High schoolers, yeah.
Yes, the pursuit of drugs.
It's kind of like a social commentary, I'd say, because I feel guilty for having fun the entire time.
Yeah.
Honestly, because I was like, this is pretty funny, but it has a lot to say. And I have to say my favorite part is that the boys were really respectful of women. I don't know if that was meant to be a joke in it, but I really liked that they are really enforcing that in movies these days. But what did you think of it?
Well, I mean, that part of it, I think, was just really showing off the difference in education in public schools today as when we were kids. So all the boys were like, do I have consent before I kiss you? Before he got his first kiss? And, you know, but they did poke fun at the short-term relationships of middle school. So there's just flashing from one girlfriend to another. He's crying. It's the best. But yeah, the movie was great. Just a lot of, I would say, if you like South Park, if you like grotesque, raunchy humor, you'll love this movie.
It's a lot of that.
So if you're looking for a movie to go out to see, you're going on a date on a weekend night, you want to laugh, this is the one.
You kind of described it as like a modern day Stranger Things.
Yes, it's like Stranger Things today, but there's no fantasy or monsters.
You know what?
So what else will those kids get into?
I will tell you, if you find this kind of like gross humor funny, to go see it. Don't take your kids to see it, even though it's a movie about kids. I still can't believe their parents let them make this movie. Let's just say that. What would you tell people?
Well, yeah, don't bring your kids at all, but definitely go see it if you want a funny adult a comedy. You'll love it. You'll be laughing from beginning to end. There's a lot of terrible things in there, but it is funny, and it really shows the innocence of children. Because they're mistaking a sex doll for a CPR doll. They're like, yeah, that's my dad's CPR doll. They have no idea. They're just kids. So it's that kind of humor. It's great. You'll really enjoy it. So I would say if you're not going out to the movie theaters, don't go out of your way to see it. Wait until Redbox. It'll be just as funny as home.
I agree with that. Like if you're waiting for a funny movie that you can kind of like have a guilty pleasure and laugh at home, so you're not embarrassed about laughing at it at theaters, I'd recommend Good Boys.
Go see it.
See it.
Welcome back to DBL. Have you guys ever heard of the app TikTok?
Yes.
Not sure. I thought it was the Kesha song, to be super honest. If not, your kids or grandkids probably use it. The app is a new video creation taking the internet by storm.
It's been
and
around
it stars,
for years.
Oh boy, an adorable cat. Let's take a look. Sandman, and even though it's only 12 seconds long, people just can't get enough.
100% would do this. 100%.
So boring. Go ahead.
What is this the thing with cats? It's so boring.
Any animal, cats, dogs, a little rabbit jumping.
That cat didn't want to do that.
For you guys?
Joe Jackson was making that cat do that.
That's harsh, way harsh. All right, we'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Take care, guys.
Hey DBL Nation, it's Kelly Schubert here with the DBL Digital team. I'm tracking all the breaking and trending news for you right now, and I do have a trending story I want to tell you about. Officials in San Diego are saying they seized $2.3 million worth of marijuana, and get this, it was found behind jalapenos. John's going to bring up the picture for you. Check that out. Ooh, we've got a special guest in studio. That's why everyone's clapping. You'll see coming up here in about less than 2 minutes, so that's very exciting. You have to stay tuned for that. But yeah, they seized $2.3 million worth of marijuana, and it was mixed in with a shipment of jalapeno peppers at a Southern California port. A K-9 K9 unit alerted officers to the shipment, so that's awesome. Way to go, K9 unit. I love those dogs. It's crazy what dogs can do, what they train them to do, so that's really exciting when we see them make a bust. So yeah, they were congratulating the officers on Twitter, and this was actually the second large seizure of marijuana within 3 days. So that's huge, the fact that this dog was able to sniff that out and sniff it out through the jalapenos. Obviously, those are strong smelling and really spicy. So guys, let us know what you think about this story. Again, we have a special guest coming up in this next show, so get ready and stay tuned.
Shout out NYPD.
Bye.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Because everyone's talking about this.
Always live, always real, always unpredictable.
You think this hair just naturally stays like that?
Log on and join our live conversation.
I can't believe I'm saying this. I do agree with you.
DBL starts right now.
Welcome to Daily Blast Live. It's Monday, August 19th. I'm here with Erica and Jeff. I'm Tori. Sam is off today, but we have a very special guest, co-host Cameron Mack.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Great to be here.
Yes, from Hallmark's Home and Family, among many, many other things. You feeling good?
I'm feeling great. I'm happy to be here. I'm a fan of the show. Jeff has come into our house at Home and Family, so I mean, now I'm in your house.
And I'm sad about this, Cam, but people know we're live and we shoot all day. You just got off a plane.
Yeah.
We're putting you to work.
Yeah, I thought I was coming on the show for like 5 minutes doing a little guest appearance. I'm here for the day. You're stuck with me. I don't know how many hours it's going to be, but it's going to be a lot.
There's no lunch either.
It's long, buddy. It's long.
I love it.
It is long. Well, we are starting sort of in a good place. Authorities stopped 3 mass shootings, all because of tips from the public. First in Florida. Now, authorities arrested this man on Friday. He had sent his ex-girlfriend a series of texts allegedly threatening to commit a mass shooting. She turned the text over to authorities. Here's what they had to say about it.
This is how it's supposed to work. You see something, say something. Law enforcement does their job. We seize his weapons. He's under arrest.
And in Ohio, this 20-year-old was arrested for allegedly threatening to shoot up a Jewish community center. His Instagram account showed a man firing a gun, and that ultimately led to his arrest. A search of his home revealed several weapons, including 2 AR-15 style rifles, body armor, a Confederate flag shield, and a gas mask with plenty of ammo. And in Connecticut, police arrested this 22-year-old after he allegedly posted about committing mass murder on Facebook. So really quick before, first of all, let's just say it, they all look very similar. I think we have a picture of them all together. And I would just like to say, if these were Muslims, in my opinion, I'm not sure we would not be having much more aggressive things going on right now. But I will say this, are they trying to get caught by posting it before they do it?
I don't know if they're trying to get caught. I do know that a lot of people are trying to search for how they can find safety or power in things that feel very powerless. And this is a really great example of how you can get your power back as a law-abiding citizen by paying attention to the people around you and the things that they are doing. If you were in this situation, how would you react? How would you contact someone? What type of guilt might you be feeling? But more so if they followed through with these acts. These are 3 examples of people who took their power back and did the right thing by reporting these individuals.
And do you think the FBI, remember Parkland, those kids asked twice to talk about the gunman, and no one did, the FBI didn't do anything.
I think we're seeing that. I always say that social media has a huge impact on finding who these people are. So whether it's the IP address, whether you're pinging off a certain tower. I mean, if you order a gas mask, you should probably look into what that person's doing. Seriously, I mean, it sounds comedic, but it's like, I think these people want notoriety. That's what they want. want ultimately. I don't even like that we show their faces. We usually don't when there's a mass shooting. I don't know what the penalty is for something like this without committing the crime, but it should be increased and it should be harsh to make an example of these
Just
people.
so you know, it's like 1 to 2 years. It's a misdemeanor for a federal.
I feel like it should be more.
I agree.
Yeah.
And to that point, exactly, like you don't know if they should show the faces. Look at the ages of these guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like on one level you're asking whether or not they want to be caught doing this, but I think partially on some level for sure they want their faces to be shown. There's something about that, putting it out there on Facebook and everything else.
Yeah.
I think they want that, you know, exactly what's happening.
And it's interesting, again, DBL doesn't usually do that. There is a point to be shown here as the commonality of those. They're very homogeneous. I said it wrong. All right, a Texas man lost his partner of 22 years in the El Paso mass shooting. He was afraid no one would show up to her funeral as he had no family. So Antonio Basco decided to invite the world to attend the service, and hundreds of strangers showed up. Mr. Basco didn't have to bury his partner alone, and the world got to hear of the love and celebrate Margie Record's life. It was a touching moment, but then on Saturday, this happened. The SUV belonging to Margie was stolen, and when it was finally recovered yesterday, it had been badly vandalized. But I'm sure, Jeff, you want to go back to the more positive aspect.
Absolutely. I mean, life is balance. Life is all about the good in life, and with the good comes bad. It's just a part of life. So I do want to focus on the good part of this story. People coming together, communities coming together. That's what we need more than anything now, because I feel like people lost that sense of community.
And
they don't have
tribalism.
that, like, the neighbors anymore, like invite your neighbors over for Christmas or for a cup of coffee. I feel like those days are gone. So seeing something like this, it really, you know, it makes me feel like there's hope out there.
And he said, Cameron, he said he goes to the grave every day and says, I wonder what you're doing up there. I wish you would talk to me today. For a guy who comes from home and family, do you feel like that narrative is lessening now in America?
Well, I think on one level, it's what we do on Home and Family every day is we really do tell stories similar to this in the sense that we try to spread a lot of positivity and feel goodness. And of course, this man obviously feeling distraught and lonely, and then the community coming together, like you were saying, Jeff. It's just such a beautiful message to put out there. That's the kind of story I think the more that we can get out there, the better.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's
wonderful.
It's nice to see.
Do you think she was targeted, that car? Do you have any speculation? You don't want to speculate on it.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, when you talk about balance, it's also people are idiots. I mean, sometimes that's the only example. Like, you can't make sense
you can't
out of
sweeten
nonsense.
that one up. They're just idiots.
That's a really good point.
I mean, hey.
Yeah. Well, we hope he has more people in El Paso. Great for them for sticking up for him.
Absolutely.
Amazing, amazing. Well, millions of people are going to be dealing with very unusually hot weather. Kelly Schuberth, you got the news at the moment.
You said it, Tori. It is hot, hot, hot. Around 60 million people are under some sort of heat advisory right now, from Colorado all the way to the East Coast. Now in Washington, D.C., it could feel as hot as 100 degrees, while Denver could break a record high today. Now NOAA says this past June and July were the hottest ever for those respective months, and it looks like we could be dealing with the same for August. Now, DBL Nation, I'd love to know what the weather's like where you are. Tweet me using the hashtag DBLTake.
Yes, in Phoenix, in the New York Times, they're hiking now at night because it's only 94 degrees at night, so they can do it.
It's the dog days.
That's the way you got to do what you got to do.
I know. Who wants to still hike? Good for you, people. Good for you. Plus-size supermodel Ashley Graham, this is very controversial, is well known for celebrating her body. Last Wednesday, she announced she's expecting her first child, Mazel Tov. Well, now she's following up with this. A nude Instagram showing off her stretch marks. The caption says, same, but a little different. And fans are praising her. Like one person who wrote, I freaking love you for this. This is what real women look like. I want to go straight to Erica just as a female. I found this incredibly refreshing because when I'm naked and I lean over, that's what I look like. And I'm just saying, I've never seen it before anywhere else.
So now we're going to have a visualized Monday.
Sorry, I'm very sorry. I shouldn't have started with that. But to be honest, when Demi Moore was pregnant on Vanity Fair and it was a big deal, that was big deal because no one sexualized pregnancy or made it a powerful thing.
But even that photo was professional. I think it was Annie Leibovitz. I mean, it was a beautiful image. The lighting was perfect. I mean, Ashley Graham has been known for changing the way that we look, that we feel about our bodies out there. I mean, this is coming from a guy who's been very aesthetically focused my whole career. In many ways, the aesthetics of my body has helped me kind of land jobs, certainly in my early years.
That's honest of you.
No, but it's very true. It's 100% true. But as you get a little bit older, you know, it takes a little bit extra work and things. Yeah, as you get a little bit older.
At me, Cam?
I didn't do that. I didn't mean to do that. But it's been really refreshing. I think it's a beautiful thing that Ashley's been doing. I've had the chance to interview her a couple times too, and she's just so unbelievably comfortable. Like
That's what I like.
It's so real. It's not like she's doing it for shock value. It just is. And I think there's something about that comfort level that's reassuring, like you said, for everybody.
What do you think?
Ashley Graham's a pioneer, and the reason why she's so comfortable is because she's truly free. Some people can pretend like they're comfortable in things that aren't socially accepted, but then other people really live that and walk that walk, and that's why she's so important for representation.
That's a good point.
Because it's one thing to be gratuitously who you are, like rebuking everything that people say, but then you don't feel that inside. It's something different to be able to post a photo like that and really feel the power of really being a testimony teacher to all of the people who are following you and wanting to feel that comfortable in their own skin. She's so important, and I'm really glad that she's doing it.
I'm glad you said that. How do you feel about it?
You know, she's pregnant, so I'm not going to take the other side in this one. Usually I would jump into that pool, you know, so to speak. But I mean, she's pregnant, so what are you supposed to say? This is very natural. This is what you look like. I do applaud her for showing that, because a lot of people feel insecure, my wife included. When she got a little bigger, she has stretch marks. She's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? But that's life. And it's so, the more people see this and realize that, the better off people will be.
Amen. So mazel tov, and I'm very refreshed to see the roll, people, the roll. All right, Cameron Matheson, you're not allowed to go away.
Well, I've been told that, yes, I'm going to stick around.
You're hostage, because coming up, we're going to grill you about your smoking hot Chippendale routine.
Speaking of bodies.
Don't miss this. Then later, ABC is dropping hints about the new Dancing with the Stars cast. Got any guesses? And you, the viewer, you're our fifth host. Should moms and dads have to take a mandatory parenting class? What about getting a license? Your comments are coming up next.
Guys, I want
Kelly Schubert here with the DBL Digital team. I'm tracking all the breaking and trending news for you. I think we're going to go to the desk and get to know Cameron a little better. Let's go.
Hey, Cameron. And again, so we don't go to commercial break on YouTube and Facebook. Okay. And
So we are watching them prep right now. Yeah.
Camera in your face.
Let's get to know Cameron, guys. Here we are.
All day long.
Great. What's up, everybody?
What's up, guys?
I mean, you play long days, Cam, at home and family, right?
Yes, they're all long days. Yes, it takes us about 4 hours to shoot our 2-hour show, which goes the next day. So, yeah, I mean, and you get there at 8 in the morning, you're prepping, you're getting ready. There's 11 segments. I mean, I thought it was long days until I got it. No, but it is. It's all, like I was saying earlier, it's all incredibly like feel-good, positive stuff. So it doesn't feel like long
drag
days.
you
It just
down.
feels good all day. You know, we're spreading.
When we have easy weeks without like shootings and things like that, I mean, I know it happens all the time, unfortunately, but it is so much easier when you're just focusing on positive things, you know? And then when you have to, unfortunately, tell the news of the dark side of life, it does get pretty heavy, you know? Those are the hard days. So
It must drain you a little bit. More.
Absolutely.
Right, for
And
sure.
you bring it home with you a little bit sometimes. So.
And what's crazy is like when we hear about it, it's live too for us. So like we haven't had time to sort of cope. So we're like processing it on the air.
You mean like if it's breaking?
Yeah, if I'm like, there's a shooting right now. Oh, 7 people are killed. We're like, I'm also like a human being that is like feeling horrible about that. So it's a weird, but I think that's good. It's transparent.
Do you ever find that like you don't necessarily process that kind of breaking news until you get home later?
Yeah.
Until everything can just kind of stop and you're like, whoa, let that in for a second. That would make sense to me.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's happening too often now, and you're almost getting like, no, yeah, it is like that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, there's another shooting.
Yes. Oh,
like when I read those 3, I was like, this one, and this one, and this one, and this one.
I thought there was 3 shootings, so this was good. I was like, oh, nice, foiled 3 shootings. So that's good.
I took out foiled.
Those guys were 22, 25.
I know, they were
all
young.
exactly the same. That was crazy.
That's why I thought the picture was interesting, just to see that they were like one all the same.
I feel like they want to get their, like they just want to be
they want
seen.
notoriety.
They just
That's
want
what
to be
I think.
seen.
Welcome back to DBL. It's time for Fifth Host, when we talk about what you're talking about. Babies don't come with instructions, but could mandatory parenting classes be the answer? You need a license to own a car, to drive a car, and to permit you need a permit to own a gun, excuse me. But with the hot topic of parent shaming and so many tragic stories of child neglect, DBL Nation, should parenting require training and certification to obtain a license?
Maybe we should explain what's going on for Cam a little bit.
Yeah, what's Fifth Host?
This is the part in the show where we ask the audience.
What am I
Yeah,
doing
so
here?
the audience writes in about the questions that we posted, just to give you a little update because it seems like we didn't do that at the break.
I feel like a terrible hostess. I'm so sorry.
No, I was prepped, on the way from the airport on this segment, so
Okay, good.
I'm aware.
All right,
I
no
appreciate
problem.
that.
Hey, we're open and honest
No, that's
here,
good.
Cam.
Way to throw you right in.
And a great subject, too. This is a tricky subject,
Yes,
for
it
sure.
is.
Well, we'll get started with the first comment.
Okay.
Kimberly from Facebook says, I'm all for parents being required to have a license. There are some real idiots out there that like to call themselves parents. Kimberly, are you my sister?
Yeah, right.
No. I don't have kids, so I don't feel like it's appropriate for me to comment on people's parenting styles because I don't know. However, I do think that if you have situations where you were unable to take care of the first child, that maybe bringing in a second child isn't the right answer, and that needs to be talked about more. So that's my opinion.
That's fair.
Okay. All right, do we keep talking about that a little bit longer? Should I go on to the next comment?
No, we go right to you.
Okay, you guys all looked at me. I figured that was a sign it's time for me to talk.
Deer in the headlights over there.
Donna from Facebook says, how about making them pass a drug test and enforcing other requirements to show that people having kids are suitable parents, which is very, very interesting. My question for this, though, is, so on that note, what happens if somebody gets pregnant and they haven't got the license and they haven't passed the test? So yes, there's a lot. I think there's one side of that argument that makes sense. They don't come with rule books, these kids. I'm a parent to a 16-year-old boy, a 13-year-old girl. There's some challenges for sure, but then you've got to say to yourself, okay, so what happens if there's an accidental pregnancy? So then where do we go from there?
Right, like how enforceable is this?
Yeah, like what do you do? Like what do you do? So I mean, yeah, that would be great to have sort of mandatory classes that you have to, I don't know about a license or but there's people need help out there.
Yeah.
It's not easy all the time. I mean,
Absolutely. Let's get this last one. Alyssa from Facebook says, I seriously think that something needs to be done about the numerous people who have no business being parents, but I'm not convinced a license is the answer. Me neither, Alyssa. So what happens? You fail your test and you get your child taken away? Get real. And who's making these tests, by the way? You're not going to have a kid that gets pregnant underage or drinks and drives or does anything bad? First of all, I don't like anyone parent shaming me and telling me what to do as a parent. I wouldn't do that to anybody else. It's a very, very slippery slope.
Yeah, I don't like government with licensing private citizens on anything, but I love the idea of maybe subsidized classes or mandatory classes for people. I like that idea.
Yeah, I mean, they have those too. You could go to like birthing classes or things that you want. You could be involved.
But those are voluntary. What we're saying is,
I like the idea of mandatory kind of, which is weird for me to say. Well, coming up on DBL, supermodel Kate Upton puts the Victoria's Secret fashion show on blast. Wait till you hear what she called it. And next we get to know guest co-host Cameron Matheson a little bit better. And he takes us behind the scenes of his new Hallmark movie, The Christmas Club. Don't miss it when we come back.
Hey guys, today I am going to be trying my first ever corn dog. I've never seen a corn dog, I've never smelled a corn dog, tasted a corn dog, ever. The only time I've really heard about a corn dog, I think, if I'm correct, was when Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman said, let's pop a squat and eat a corn dog. That might be completely incorrect. I'm sure you guys will write in and let me know. But let the corn dog commence. Okay, so this is my first look at a corn dog. It looks slightly questionable, but I'm gonna sniff it. It kind of smells like it should taste like a donut. Okay, it's not hot, so I'm just gonna go for it. Do I just bite in? Just bite in? Just bite in. Oh, you know what? That's all right. It tastes kind of a little sweet. It tastes like a hot dog with sweet, chewy bread. You know what? With a bit of ketchup, I would rate this quite highly. 7 out of 10. To all the corn dog lovers out there, I salute you and I join the club.
Welcome back to DBL. Our guest co-host, Cameron Matheson, is a busy man. Now, you just took a brief hiatus from Hallmark's Home and Family to film The Christmas Club. So tell me about The Christmas Club.
Oh my gosh. I mean, here's the thing. You're doing a movie for Hallmark. You know it's going to be a feel-good, sweet story. I don't want to blow it for anybody, but there's going to be a happy ending at the end of it. I just know that. No, The Christmas Club, it's a sweet story about second chances. It's about...
Is that you on Santa's lap?
That's me on Santa's lap. That was not part of the movie. I was shooting some behind-the-scenes stuff for Home and Family.
Okay, that makes sense.
Did you say that was on your iPhone?
Yeah, that's on my iPhone. I shot that on my iPhone. Yeah, exactly. Looks pretty good, right?
Yeah.
It does look good.
Thank goodness that was not from the movie itself. It's going to be much better than that. Yeah, no, but working with the amazing Elizabeth Mitchell, you guys might know her from many things, including Lost. Great actress. One of the sweetest people, if not the sweetest person I think I've ever met. Like the most upbeat, positive person, which made doing a movie like this, which again is a very feel-good movie, that much better. It's a sweet, sweet story, and I think people are gonna like it.
When does it come out?
Comes out in
Take
Christmas.
a guess.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess around Christmas time.
I'm a Jew. I'm a Jew.
Wow.
It comes
out for Halloween. It's going to be wonderful.
I don't have the date, but I'm guessing it's going to be late November, early December. Let's go with that.
All right. Dripping with sarcasm, Cameron. I heard
hard-hitting questions here on Daily Blast Live.
It could come out mid-December, maybe.
All right, easy there. We have a special message, actually, from your Home and Family style guy and friend of our show, Lawrence Zarian. Let's check it out.
Okay.
One day I said to Cameron, "You're really good looking. Like you're perfect. Please tell me that there's one thing that's not perfect." And he thought about it, and he thought about it.
No!
And he thought about it.
No!
So if you got nothing, that means you're perfect. And Cameron, I love you very much, and I will see you soon. And I will see my DBL family very soon. Have a great show.
How cute is that?
Elsie, you're the best.
So
You're
you
the
can't
best.
think of anything that's not perfect.
Of course I can. There's a million things. I wasn't sure like how personal to get to tell them that. But yeah, we all have got imperfections. It's the imperfections that make us, who we are, I think.
Let's go around the horn and say an imperfection that we're open about.
Okay, I'm a perfectionist.
Okay.
Yeah, like I get really hard on myself making everything perfect, and I got to like kind of just let go.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's totally
like coming off the plane with half an hour to prepare for this, racing in here, changing, putting my pant leg as I'm coming into the show.
You're doing great.
I was like, I'm just going to enjoy the moment because this is exciting. I love it.
So you're doing great with that. What's an imperfection that you have?
I've always struggled with my temper. I'm better at it, but I think I fly off the handle. For sports teams, you know what I mean?
See, I don't know that side of you.
Yeah, well, let's not get there. Let's not get there.
I think I need to be better with being on time and cleaning, responsibility-wise.
Oh, okay.
I would concur.
Okay, moving on to Erica.
I'm way too aloof.
No, you're not.
The opposite. No way.
Yes,
Do you feel that way?
Do you really feel that way?
Yes, people are like, what do you care about? I'm like, I care about things.
You do. You care about
I care about a lot of things. I just
don't
like to
feel
just
it.
be like, you know.
I feel like you're pretty sharp. You're on. You know what? Oh yeah, you know what's going on.
You must be peaceful a lot of the time, just like
I'm not peaceful.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Cameron doesn't want to see our dark side.
We've got like tempers and we're angry. I love it. All right, now also you happen to be the host of Entertainment Tonight Weekend, which takes you to some unique locations.
Yes.
Like this Chippendale stage. Check this out, guys.
Oh boy.
This is it, my moment of pec-flexing, shirt-ripping truth.
Okay, can I ask you a question? Was there any moment you were like, it's not gonna rip? I'm always worried it's not gonna rip.
Just when I thought I got to a place in my career when I mean, yeah, by the way, it barely did rip. I thought I was going to be that guy that couldn't get out of the actual tank top. And they're scored, like they're made to rip, and I still almost did rip it. But that was for a series. So yeah, at Entertainment Tonight, they did this thing called Can Cam, where they would put me up to these fun challenges, like Chippendale, American Ninja Warrior. I raced Maseratis against Josh Duhamel. Really fun challenges incorporating celebrities. That was Tyson Beckford, who's awesome, and so they had me on there. But no, the pants stayed on, everybody.
Wow.
The pants stayed on.
Hot. All right, we will be right back.
It got a little awkward in here, didn't it?
No, man.
What's going on, DBL Nation? Happy Monday, first and foremost. We got Cam Morrison in the building today, absolutely making us laugh. But we want to get to a topic, well, breaking news about the officer who has killed Eric Gardner has now been fired from the NYPD. Let's get straight to you all's viewer comments because you guys are really writing in on this one. Tim Manning from Facebook says, yes, he killed Eric Gardner. Suzanne Raines from Facebook also says, now prosecute for abuse of power. Clean this abuse up. That's what a lot of people are talking about, and thankfully his family has some sort of justice now. Marlene Lewis, watching on 11 Alive in Atlanta, says that, right, he should be fired. Mary Russo, also watching on 11 Alive in Atlanta, says, finally, some justice. Is it justice? Is it justice? I mean, this happened back in what, 2000 and it's been 6 years and he's just gotten fired. So 6 years he's been on desk duty, still getting paid, still being an officer and a member of the NYPD. Now, without this video footage from Eric Gardner's friend, I feel as though this entire thing may have been swept under the rug because William Barr wouldn't even prosecute him or bring him up on federal charges. Federal charges. When a judge has said that the chokehold that was used was illegal, when a judge has said that there was a clear abuse of power, and this guy has been sitting on the desk for 6 years. It's taken 6 years for this. So, I mean, it's kind of some sort of justice. I want to continue. I want to see what the family says. Let's see, Donna Shaw, and we're getting back to these comments. Watching on King 5 in Atlanta. In Seattle, my fault, I'm sorry, she says, good. There was no reason to use a chokehold in the arrest of someone for a misdemeanor sale of untaxed cigarettes. Richard Teeter, watching on 9 News here in Denver, says, hopefully it's without pay. I just feel as though this is going to be something where you're going to see a back the blue movement. You know, we have these movements and we have these hashtags. I feel like they're designed to split us up even more. So you can't be Black Lives Matter and Blue Lives Matter at the same time, or back the blue. I feel like that's where we're all being pitted up against each other. I just feel as though there's going to be some sort of GoFundMe race for this guy, or he's going to get some sort of police officer job at another PD somewhere in Pennsylvania or somewhere else. Let's get to a couple more comments. Brian Peters, watching on 9 News, says murder charges should be the next step. Russell Strolin, watching on 9 News, says very bad move from a political sense. Jody Lackey, watching on KGTW in Portland, says finally, now some justice. Put him. How are you feeling about this? We got more of the show coming up. Cam Morrison is here. Thank you all for writing in. That's your digital break.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. Erica, do we have any?
Yes, Dana says, who is this new guy on the panel? I like him. Oh. But Happy Dee Dee knows. She says, hey, Cameron, welcome, handsome.
Oh, that's right. Happy
I love
Dee Dee.
Did she say it in that voice?
I think so.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Oh,
do you get stopped a lot? Do people stop you on the street and stuff?
People stop me. You know, between All My Children, Dancing with the Stars, and then The Hallmark are the things that people stop me for the most. Oddly enough, even though Entertainment Tonight was one of the biggest, entertainment news shows in the world, it wasn't like the thing where people would stop you from. But All My Children, those bubbles are small. Like if you watch the soaps or you watch Hallmark
We're gonna get cut off here, Cam.
Yeah, we are. Here's what's coming up next on Daily Blast Live.
The new season of Dancing with the Stars is around the corner, and ABC is dropping contestant clues. Can you guess who they are? Then, heroism in action, when strangers save a sinking woman. But you'll never guess what made this rescue more difficult. And Cameron Matheson from Home and Family is sticking around. Don't miss his DBL take on all the trending stories when we come back.
Hey, welcome back to Beauty Blast, guys. I'm Jeray for the Slay, and while we're here, let's go ahead and pull up those search bars, type in Jaray for the Slay, all one word, my friends, on all your social media platforms so we can be friends. Back to business. Welcome back to Beauty Blast, guys. Today we're talking about some red light beauty tips and some of my favorite ways to save some time while you're getting ready. Today though, I want to talk about traveling with your beauty tips. Now, when you're traveling with your beauty products, it's important not to overpack. Now, I know anything could happen while you're on vacation, whether you're at the beach, in the mountains, whatever you may. You want to make sure that you have everything that you need, but you don't need to overpack. So that's why I went ahead and made a little list for us so that we all know the expectation and that we're not just carrying a toolkit around with us, okay? Now, number one, you want to bring the eye essentials. So some of my eye essentials are going to be a mascara. Full size or travel size is okay. If you need a travel size, check your local Sephora or even ask at a counter if there might be a sample size that you can try out before your actual vacation, okay? So you can do a travel size mascara. You can do a little bit of an eyeliner. I prefer to do a pencil liner when I'm traveling just because it's going to help to make sure that you have more flexibility with your looks. Now, another thing that I would recommend for eyes is one eyeshadow stick. Choose one and just make it neutral. So this way you can kind of be more flexible with your looks, whether it be more of a bronze, a blush color, or cream. You can kind of have a little bit more diversity with your looks by using a blush or bronzer, which we'll get to next. Now, another thing that you can do is get an all-in-one blush, bronzer, and highlight palette. These guys are great to make sure that you're all ready to go for any look. And last but not least, don't forget a tinted moisturizer. It has your SPF and your hydration. So guys, let me know if these beauty tips worked for your travel, and go ahead and write me in.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Because everyone's talking about this.
Always live, always real, always unpredictable.
You think this hair just naturally stays like this?
Log on and join our live conversation.
I can't believe I'm saying this. I do agree with you.
DBL starts right now.
Welcome back to Daily Blast Live, or welcome to Daily Blast Live. We're live. We are here with guest co-host Cameron Matheson from Home and Family.
Yes. Happy to be here.
We're very happy that you're here.
Having fun.
Speaking of something you were a part of, Dancing with the Stars is keeping fans in the dark for just a couple more days before they reveal who's competing this season. So far, we've seen these black and white pictures disguising all the faces. Now, the show will announce the contestants on Wednesday. Fans are speculating that friend of our show, Karamo Brown, will be joining the cast. Okay. He went to Florida A&M University, was on The Real World, and is known for bomber jackets like these, also Queer Eye, of course. And as you know, Cameron was on season 5.
Why is Jeff laughing at that photo? That's like one of my highlights.
I was laughing at the bomber jackets. I was waiting to see him, and then Cam's picture came up.
Yeah, there was no bomber jacket graphic, so I don't know what that was, but we'll show you a bomber jacket. Oh, got it. Okay.
I wasn't laughing at you, Cam. That was a beautiful picture.
You should.
Can you go back to that picture really quick?
Yeah.
How was that extension for you?
I am just gonna say it did not feel as good as it looks in that photo. Like during that dance, I was like, "Get me through this," and
get me out of here.
Yeah, get me a little bit.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. So, what do we think? Who's there, and what do we think?
Okay. What do you guys think?
Can we see
there's
him?
categories. Now remember, there's categories. There's the reality TV category. There's the athlete category. There's the hunk category. There's, so remember, you got to think in those.
What category were you in?
I was the soap opera star category, because for a while they had daytime stars on there. They probably had 6 or 7 of us, but they've kind of moved away from that.
I'm going. This is the first time I saw them too.
Can we show them again?
When I saw the girl with the Dancing with the Stars, like, even though I enjoy looking at that photo, I enjoy that photo.
That looks really good to me.
That's great.
It did not feel that
perfect.
Good. It really didn't. But anyway, moving on.
Yeah, can we get the photo of the contestants, possible contestants?
Yeah, we're trying to get that.
I'll just go on while they're doing that. I'm guessing that first girl, because she looked like she was really in shape. Yeah. Soccer, part of the U.S. women's soccer team.
Oh, that's a good call.
So there's one.
Man.
Is that Tina Knowles? Could it be?
No.
So that's a soccer girl, I'm saying.
That is, I could see that. I could see that.
And then this guy.
That's
Fred Savage.
No.
Now, going back to the one, that looks, could it be Deidre Hall? Could it be going back to soap opera?
I feel
hair's
like,
too dark.
I
feel like she's more obvious than we're giving it credit for. I know that hair.
You do?
I know that hair.
The one with the little happy face in front of the hair?
Yes.
That person.
How about a housewife?
Is it a housewife?
Susan Lucci?
Susan Lucci's already done the show.
Okay.
She's already done the show. So
Any advice you give to these people?
I would say take everything off of your schedule. I was doing All My Children while I did that show, flying back and forth from LA to New York and red eyes every week, trying to do All My Children full time and learn how to dance. The best possible thing to really enjoy it, because it's so unique of an experience, is to try and clear your schedule, because it's just so hard to be working full time and trying to do that at the same time too. Wow. Almost killed me.
Are you do a lot of stuff in front of the camera. Do you ever get nervous? Probably not, is what I'm saying. How nervous were you for Dancing with the Stars?
I was the most nervous the first night when they were calling now Dancing the Foxtrot Camp. That I could not, I mean this seriously, I'm not just saying this, I couldn't feel my legs. Somehow my nerves manifested as my legs going completely numb. They're calling my name. I'm like banging my legs and shaking them out. I was so nervous. You'd think like it's so far out of your comfort zone, or at least out of mine anyway. I wasn't a dancer. I never really danced. I, used to be on television, but so nervous, man.
Yeah, I bet.
At the time, 20 million people were watching.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Night. It's a lot of people.
That's a lot. We have 25 million watching right now.
Okay, well now I just got nervous too. I can't feel my legs.
Journalists and drama. There's a new show coming to Apple TV. Raquel Villanueva has details at the moment.
I sure do, Tori. The morning show is ripped straight from some of the biggest headlines in news, and it stars Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon.
Mitch Kessler, my co-host and partner of 15 years, was fired today.
Her sell-by date expired years ago. I want you to start grooming some new people.
I don't fit the mold.
What mold is that?
Any mold, really?
Well, the morning show will come out when Apple's new streaming service launches this fall.
Wow. Well, at least we get to see people. The first time we heard anything about the promo, it was just voices, and it sounded like it was ripped from DBL.
Yeah, it did.
Just gonna be honest.
It's true. Would you watch this?
Yeah, I think I like to see like behind the scenes things. I like to see behind the scenes how people are showing behind the scenes versus how we live behind the scenes.
Totally.
It's a different behind the scenes.
It totally is.
I want to know who wrote it and where they got their research from and what it's based on. That's what I'd love to know.
It's a little Matt Lowry, doesn't it?
I mean,
oh, that was definitely.
That's where I was
Am I
going.
right?
Yeah.
But
I went straight for it. Sorry.
Yeah, you did. I appreciate it. I don't know if I could.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking.
I think everyone did. Everyone thought that.
And it's relevant.
And man, did they bring the stars out for this Apple TV?
Yeah. I think they're trying to go with Netflix. This is a big hit at trying to be the new Netflix.
This is their big first big series,
yes,
right?
This is it. So let us know if you guys want to watch, and let us know. So remember to always keep your mom in the loop in case of an emergency. Even 49-year-old golf champ Phil Mickelson has to do this because yesterday his hotel caught on fire after getting struck by lightning. He was evacuated, and that's when he started live tweeting saying, "May miss my tee time because I'm without clubs and clothes." He was in Illinois for the FedEx Cup playoff. Lucky for him. He tweeted again saying, "I'm going to make it. Turns out my clubs acted as a fire retardant." But then his sister called him out by saying, "Bro, you can't tweet this stuff until after you call mom. She would like a word." Thoughts about live tweeting emergencies?
Yeah, it's not really a great idea if you were in your right mind. I shared video, like surveillance. I've been talking about, I had a break-in recently.
Yes.
My dad asked to see it. I sent it to him. He posted it, and I hadn't told my mom. And I'm like, that's the last thing that she needs to see right now. You need to take it down. And I'm just like, what are you doing?
Oh, that was stupid. Roosevelt.
He's like, well, I post video surveillance of things that happen in my building. I was like, that's your building. This is my house, Dad. Like, come on.
That's crazy, because that's a scary video. I've seen that footage.
It's very important that you tell people before you post things.
Absolutely. And call your mom first.
I wouldn't have thought of that. I got to be honest. Like, I mean, I probably wouldn't have gone to wanting to live tweet something, subtract, but I wouldn't have not done it because I should have called my mom first. I mean, I just would have put it out there.
Really?
So I appreciate that.
Yeah. No, I called my mom. She was at a party, so I didn't want to ruin her time.
Mom, don't go.
I can't talk now.
I was like, I'll call you back later. I don't want to.
You get credit for the call, though. That's all that counts. You get credit for the call.
She just didn't know what it was about.
Exactly.
Right. She doesn't need to know.
Well, she knows
now.
Yeah.
Now she does. Thanks, Roosevelt. Thank you. All right. Well, in case you missed it, the annual extravaganza known as the Victoria's Secret Fashion Show is not happening this year. One of the models who's a regular on the runway announced that a couple weeks ago. So when a viewer asked model Kate Upton what she thought about its cancellation on Watch What Happens Live, she said she's not disappointed. You got to watch this.
You know what?
we're sick of seeing the same body type. You have to be body inclusive now. Every woman needs to be represented. Otherwise, it's a snooze fest.
So this is huge. Going back to the Ashley Graham story, people are tired of seeing the exact same wafy, at least I am, model, because it doesn't look at all like anyone I know. So therefore, I'm not invested in anybody. So I just think it's a beautiful thing that she said that. And again, I stick up for places like Third Love, where there's pictures of people with C-section scars, mastectomies, real people, I think is what's going to get me to buy.
But honestly here, I don't want to like sound like that guy, but that doesn't sell. You know what I mean? That does not sell. People like this sell. I feel like that's why people tune in to see the most fabulous women in the whole world. That's why people watch for the entertainment. If you put regular people like you just going to a beach, you're not going to get those same kind of viewers.
However, their stocks have plummeted and no one's tuning in to watch the show. So they're right. The average rating has gone way down and Third Love's stock has gone way up.
I know. I'm just telling you, the numbers as a businessman, if I was running the network or running the show, you try that, your numbers aren't going to equate to that.
Interesting.
It's not going to work. I'm not trying to be mean.
No,
I'm just being realistic.
You know, it was a similar kind of note back, you know, daytime television soap operas back in the day, All My Children. You know, there's a lot of attractive people generally on those shows, and the idea behind it was more the fantasy aspect, was the escape the realism. So A, your point, Jeff, but also wondering, what do you think about the fact that there is a little bit of fantasy escapism there, you know, versus being in touch with reality?
No, I agree with that in some capacity, but Victoria's Secret came out and said that they are selling the fantasy, but what we know now is there's more than one.
Yeah.
So if you're going to have a fashion show and you're going to cancel it, you're canceling it because there's something in the numbers that's reflecting that people aren't buying. That doesn't necessarily mean that you put everybody up there, but it might mean that you have a pretty antiquated platform.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. I also think who's buying the bras, right? Mostly women, other than like drag or if you're trans or whatever. I'm spending the money, and as a consumer, I think these days brands, and I've said this before, have to take somewhat of a stand in the Me Too movement. And I think Victoria's Secret did not budge. They refused to put a trans person in, or an obese person in, or even a heavier person in. And I think that marked the end of Victoria's Secret. I know I'm speculating here. I'm not saying that out loud. I'm just saying that's how I feel. Who's going to go in and spend $50 on a woman that no longer looks like me when I can really see me, and I'm going to put my money where my mouth is?
But the response was pretty immediate, because we just had a couple weeks ago that Victoria's Secret had its first openly trans model, and that had to have been a response to the fallout. So here we are.
Maybe things are changing. The fantasy is changing.
Didn't Kate Upton walk for Victoria's Secret or no?
I think she did. She was a Sports
She has like a different body type, you know what I mean?
She, for me, had the boobs, and she's bigger bone. I mean, she's still super skinny. But for her, it was a big deal that she even was in Sports Illustrated. I remember that being a big deal.
But for her to throw stones at Victoria's Secret, who gave her that job and that opportunity to walk with that body type, I don't feel like...
You don't think it was a good move?
I don't think it's a good move.
For sure walk for Victoria's Secret?
I'm not sure. I know it's Sports
They said in my ear that she did.
Oh,
yeah, they said in my ear that she did.
Well,
but it's
interesting that she threw them under the bus like that.
Right? It's kind of weird.
I don't think it's weird at all. You are a commodity on that runway. So the moment that you aren't the most hottest commodity, then you're discarded like that.
So she's bitter?
I don't see. No, I don't think that she owes anyone anything to not give her true opinion.
That's
She's
true.
always been opinionated.
I'm more appreciative than that. I would never badmouth a former employer for giving me that opportunity to climb the ladder for where I want to be.
That's
you
a
know?
different viewpoint. Yeah, I understand that. That's interesting.
All right, we broke that one down.
We sure did. Well, Cameron, you're not leaving for the next whole hour, because coming up next on DBL, we're asking what the gram is going on, where you'll have to explain your old Instagram posts. And a little bit later, easy tips to beat those allergies the old-fashioned way. Don't miss our natural remedies coming on up.
Me?
I'll take it.
Hey guys, so Michael Loveland just wrote in and says, I don't find most fashion models attractive. It's all in the personality. As a straight white male, are they like, to me they kind of look like mannequins. Are they attractive?
Yes, of course they're attractive. They're the most attractive people in the world.
Okay, that's
why they're up there.
To me they look almost fake.
The clothes look better on small. If you ever look at shoes and they're smaller, they look better than a size 15. You know what I mean? Mannequins in stores represent body types that don't look like anybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because they look better.
I don't think they look better. Really what it is that they model the clothing better, because the reason why a model's body type is that way is because it's supposed to mimic a hanger. That's the reason why people had such issues, because most bodies don't mimic hangers. So it's about the weight and the fit of the clothes. So it's not, it got turned into it was better. It's not that it's better for bodies, it's better to show off the clothing.
But aesthetically it's better, right?
For the clothing.
Right.
So yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the body's better. But
I see what you're saying.
along the way, it turned into the body is better.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And that's how we got into like body positivity movies, because people were like, well, why is that better than this? Like, who decided? And really it came from the fashion industry that decided that the way to really show off clothing was on wavy. Like
this is before like big manufacturing as well. So when the fashion designer actually made an outfit, they made one outfit.
Yeah, 2 to 4.
So yeah, 2 to 4.
Size-wise,
you would only
right.
have those 2 to 4 sizes, and that would be it.
Wow.
Which would make a lot of sense back then.
Yeah, there was no size.
Welcome back to DBL. Cameron Matheson is still here, and we are taking this opportunity to get to know you even.
Great.
You gonna use this?
No. We left the hairspray tray. Sorry, that's hilarious. All right, Cameron, you are pretty active on social media. You have a great Instagram feed, by the way. There's a lot of photos of traveling, friends, family, but we found a few pictures that could use a little context, okay? So we want you to help us out. Tell us what the gram is going on in some of these pictures.
You got it.
Here's our first photo.
Oh boy.
You uploaded this a little more than a year ago, looking very vanilla ice. So tell me what in the gram is going on here.
Okay, so that was in my prep for Entertainment Tonight Cam series. They put me up to these challenges.
A lot of shirtless stuff for them.
So, well, there was a couple shirtless opportunities there. This, I went on lip sync battle. I went on basically as a challenge to see if I could pull off Ice Ice Baby. I wasn't up against anybody else, but like LL was there, Christy Teigen was there. It was super fun. The challenge for me was that the audience was much younger, and I'm not sure 100% like knew exactly who Vanilla Ice or I was, but you know,
it didn't matter. All right, stop, collaborate, and listen.
There you
Ice
go.
is back with him.
Keep going.
Audition, something, grab a hold of me.
Okay, we're gonna keep going.
Next, thank you, Erica. This image is from Twitter. 4 horses, again, no shirt. What's the story behind this?
There's a theme here, isn't there?
Wow, Cam.
This was shooting a Hallmark movie in Fiji.
Wow.
I got that phone call. I thought it was a prank. Do you want to do a movie in Fiji? I was like, where do I sign? And we had a horseback riding scene. Myself and Catherine Bell, who was the lead in the movie, and I was her co-star. And that was me just kind of wrangling the horses before the scene.
Was it shirtless?
I don't want to tell you. Yeah,
did you ride the horse shirtless?
I did not ride the horse, but I was hanging out on the beach shirtless.
I was getting very romantic novel cover
For sure.
story, you know?
Like he's ripping up like a bodice off on a horse.
There were opportunities in that movie where I was shirtless, but that wasn't one of them.
Are you a horseback rider? I know you're a golfer, a very big golfer. Are you a horseback rider?
Not at all.
Are you scared of horses?
Not at all. No, I got on and they were, they're just kind of like trotting along the beach. It was otherworldly. It
Sounds
was
terrible.
Exactly.
Hard
Take a moment. It was like even better than that.
Fiji on horseback in the water.
It was a little ridiculous.
And finally, we got a video. Let's check this one out. Oh boy.
Weak arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already.
Are you ready for all this
stuff? Okay, tell me, who was that?
This is what I'm This is my big takeaway from that moment is I got to learn the words a little bit. That's my big takeaway. I mean, it's my chance. I don't know how I got lip sync battle after I posted that video. Yeah, this is me, my daughter and I were going to the beach feing goofy, and
That's awesome.
That's how I roll. That's how we roll in the household.
I love when you know
the goofier the better. For
you know
me.
you don't know the lyrics when you're like, Mom, spaghetti.
Every time I didn't know the word, I kind of turned around and said, which was often.
There you go.
Yeah, but
what would be your lip sync song if you could jam up?
The Humpty Dance. That's my go-to.
I think you did that at a Christmas party.
I did do that at a Christmas party. Yeah,
it was awesome. It was really good.
It was awesome.
It was really
That's my go-to karaoke
It was really good. What
song.
about you?
Tupac, I Get Around.
Oh man, that is good.
I think you did that too at the Christmas party.
Did you?
Yeah, you did.
I really
was this
did.
like karaoke or was this like lip sync?
It was karaoke.
I guess it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Did I do? I did one.
What?
Didn't I do one?
What? I don't know. It sounds very memorable.
Well, it wasn't because I don't remember what it was. I think we're out of time. I'm going to remember it later. All right, coming up on DBL, fighting your allergies the natural way. Easy remedies you can do at home to start feeling better when we come back. Be there or be square. Get that? Get it?
Got it.
So I'm Jeff Schroeder, and we're all going to be learning a new word today. So I'm just randomly going to pick something out of a dictionary that's already been preset, and I'm going to give you my take on what I think it is. So let's get our first word. Chlorofluorocarbon. This is definitely on the table of elements, and you inhale this, whether in a gas or pill form, and it makes you run super fast. Chlorofluorocarbon. I didn't get that right at all, did I?
Welcome back to DBL. Many of us think that allergies are their worst in the spring when the flowers are blooming. But get this, late summer and early fall can be just as bad. So instead of turning to over-the-counter allergy relief, I'm buzzing with a natural way to combat your allergies on today's So Clear, sponsored by So Clean. Honey is a kitchen staple, but a lot of us aren't using it till its full potential. Buying honey locally can actually help clear your allergies. So, we're here at B Squared to learn about its many health benefits. Beth, the things I do for DBL Nation. But we're here to learn. So, what are some of the health benefits with honey?
Honey is like the original superfood. Honey is an antifungal, antibacterial, antiviral, and a natural humectant. It's been around for forever, so it's the only food that's actually without a shelf life. If honey is for allergies, pollen is like warp speed for allergies because you actually are ingesting your allergen. So bees go in a 2.5 mile radius from their location. Essentially, consuming honey from local beehives is like consuming an anti-venom. It gives you minute amounts of the pollen that you're allergic to and raises your tolerance level for that pollen.
How should one take it? Do we take it by the spoonful or do we just douse it in our meals?
By the quart.
Yeah. Especially if you're buying it locally,
That's right. Yeah. The recommendation is a tablespoon in the morning and a tablespoon in the evening. Okay, there's that. Okay, over your head, senor.
Oh, snap.
Okay, cool.
It's getting real.
A bee makes 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey in its entire life. It takes 2 million flowers to create a pound of honey.
Wow.
Okay, so see this big fat bee right here?
Yes, ma'am.
That's a drone. Those are boys. The rest of them are all girls.
Oh, wow. I like that type of party.
There you go. That's right. So do they.
How come they're just chillaxing?
Because bees are busy.
And for more ways to rest easy, call So Clean at 1-800-619-4147. This is B London with the Jive from the Hive, and we just got the buzz on local honey. Oh, behave. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
You got it.
Broncos game tonight. If you want to get in,
Got it.
put your name in.
That's good to know. All right.
Wait, do we have to pay for
You got it. All right, guys, if you didn't know, we're getting a ton of comments, especially from 9 News in Denver, KGTW in Portland, and 11 Alive in Atlanta, and King 5 in Seattle, and ABC 10 in Sacramento. If you didn't know, Eric Garner, 5 years ago, was killed by a chokehold by a police officer named Officer Pantaleo. Pantaleo, 5 years later, was still on getting paid desk duty, still getting paid. Was then decided by William Barr, who's the Attorney General, to not have federal charges against him. This was a couple weeks ago. But a judge just decided that he should be fired, and they did agree with the judge, and this morning he was fired. Now, I am all for this, in my opinion only. I think he murdered Eric Garner. Again, he said, "I can't breathe," 11 times. His crime was a misdemeanor of allegedly selling loose cigarettes, which he wasn't, it turns out. A lot of people writing in saying he killed Eric Garner, now prosecute for abuse of power. Marlene Lewis says, right, he should have been fired. Mary Russo, finally, some justice. Tiffany Caban on Twitter says, let's be clear though, this was the bare minimum that Eric Garner's family deserved, that our communities deserved. The work isn't done either. Every single officer involved needs to be held accountable. I completely agree with Tiffany. Jamie Guerrero, watching on 9 News, says, yes, I feel he does not deserve to be a police officer. I don't like that police can treat people so mean. Now, a lot of you writing in saying he's just going to be transferred to another police station. I fully agree. I want the family to sue for a wrongful death suit. I want a lot more. 5 years was way too long, especially when the mayor, de Blasio, promised the Garner family over and over that they would get justice. It's abhorrent. It's a miscarriage of justice, in my opinion. Sad all the way around, says Rick Martin. Ricky Lewis, I'm not buying the cop being fired. For 34 years, he most likely was retiring. If you didn't know, read the judge's opinion. She says he has a gross deviation from the standards of what a New York police officer should be. He said he didn't put a chokehold. Well, there's video of the chokehold. So he lied on the stand. A lot of things wrong with this guy. I'm fully behind it, but please debate me if you view the opposite. Welcome back to DBL. Carnival Cruises is calling these two men heroes. They helped rescue a passenger in a wheelchair who fell off the docks. Once the guys realized she was in trouble, they jumped in to help her. People on the ground eventually pulled her to safety, and now Carnival is offering the heroes a free cruise for their help. They should get a free cruise for life, in my opinion, to be honest.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. My mom's sometimes in a wheelchair, and you're helpless. You're just a helpless person with nothing to do. So wonderful that they jumped in and did that, because it can be seconds.
Heroes, absolutely. I'm going to pose a little Larry David question at the end of this. If you jump in and your cell phone's in your pocket, who pays for that? You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
What? Listen, I'm glad I'm a hero, but I'm out $1,000.
Thank you, Cameron, for being here. You're the best. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. See you guys.
Hi DBL Nation, it's Raquel here, and Chris and I saw Good Boys.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't even know how to start this. It's about a group of 12-year-old boys who one of them really wants to go to a kissing party, and there's a lot of melee along the way. It involves drones, it involves drugs, and it involves a lot of stuff that I don't think 12-year-olds should be into, but I know they're into, and I'm kind of freaked out because I don't want to think about my future kids being like this, but they are.
Pulls back the curtain.
So were boys growing up, were boys really like that?
It's also about the pursuit of drugs by high schoolers or college students? High schoolers.
High schoolers, yeah.
Yes, the pursuit of drugs.
It's kind of like a social commentary, I'd say, because I feel guilty for having fun the entire time.
Yeah.
Honestly, because I was like, this is pretty funny. But it has a lot to say. And I have to say my favorite part is that the boys were really respectful of women. I don't know if that was meant to be a joke in it, but I really liked that they are really enforcing that in movies these days. But what did you think of it?
Well, I mean, that part of it, I think, was just really showing off the difference in education in public schools today as to when we were kids. So all the boys were like, do I have consent before I kiss you? Before he got his first kiss? And, but they did poke fun at the short-term relationships of middle school. So there's just flashing from one girlfriend to another. He's crying. It's the best. But
this is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Because everyone's talking about this.
Always live, always real, always unpredictable.
You are totally off base here.
Log on and join our live conversation.
I can't believe I'm saying this. I do agree with you.
DBL starts right now.
Welcome to Daily Blast Live. It's Monday, August 19th. I'm here with Erica and Al. I am Tori. Sam is off, but we have a very special guest co-host.
Is it me?
No, it's not Al. Cameron Matheson!
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Great to be here.
Family, among many, many other things. We are so excited to have you here. So thanks
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, we start off with some serious news. Authorities stopped three mass shootings, all because of tips from the public. Let's start with the first one. This is in Florida. Authorities arrested this man on Friday. He sent his ex-girlfriend a series of texts allegedly threatening to commit a mass shooting. She turned the text over to authorities. Here's what they had to say.
This is how it's supposed to work. You see something, say something. Law enforcement does their job. We seize his weapons. He's under arrest.
And in Ohio, this 20-year-old was arrested for allegedly threatening to shoot up a Jewish community center. His Instagram account showed a man firing a gun, and that ultimately led to his arrest. Now, a search of his home revealed several weapons, including 2 AR-15 style rifles, body armor, a Confederate shield, and a gas mask. And in Connecticut, police arrested this 22-year-old after he allegedly posted about committing mass murder on Facebook. All young, all white, all angry. I just have to bring that up because if, as you said earlier, and I think you should say it best, if they were Muslim, we'd get a different picture.
We'd have a different narrative going. And I mean, if the fact that these guys the first guy got arrested getting out of a Cadillac truck.
I mean, what is going on with these men? I'll tell you what I think it is. I think they are being emboldened by their online community. I think that this isn't for anybody on this panel. I think those posts are to get likes and thumbs up from their community, the people that they communicate with, saying, hey, you're doing a good job. You're doing what we want. Because that's who it's for. It's not for Tory. It's for them, and it's their community saying, because think about it, the Christchurch shooter had everybody's name written on there, all the former shooters. It is a way to kind of communicate with this community saying, hey, you're doing the right thing. We're doing God's work here.
So you don't think, Erica, that they're doing this to say, I want to be stopped? You know how people who commit or try to commit suicide are sometimes doing it for a call for help. If you're posting it on Facebook, is that not kind of calling for help?
I think there's a big difference between a cry for help for suicide and a cry for help for a mass shooting.
Totally.
Especially the fact that most people getting arrested is the worst day of your life, and here you have these clowns smiling at the camera.
I know.
That's just a weird juxtaposition. But I do think that it does tell people, when people feel like they are lost and they're powerless, and a lot of people feel that way because of the random, so many amounts of mass shootings.
Right.
This is a way to get your power back as a private citizen. If you see something, you must say something, and maybe that'll embolden and empower other people to feel like they aren't just a sitting duck.
Yeah, I'm glad we're doing these stories because we're kind of passing on that trend that this is happening, and the FBI is paying attention. In Parkland, the students tried to raise concern, and they denied hearing them twice about the shooter. So I'm glad. What do you think about it?
Well, I'm just listening. It's such a scary time in so many ways with all of these mass shootings, and thank God people are seeing something, they're saying something. This is, for me, I see this and I see hope for change.
Me too.
And hopefully more to come.
Yeah, I hope so too. It's become somewhat, and I don't mean this rudely, but trendy to say something instead of being societally scared to say something.
Yeah.
So I'm very glad about that. A sad story, but with a twist. A Texas man lost his partner of 22 years in the El Paso mass shooting. Now, he was afraid no one was going to show up to her funeral. He had no family. So Antonio Basco decided to invite the entire world to attend the service, and hundreds of strangers showed up. Mr. Basco didn't have to bury his partner alone, and the world got to hear of their love and celebrate Margie Record's life. It was such a touching moment, but then on Saturday, this happened. The SUV belonging to Margie was stolen, and when it was finally recovered yesterday, it had been badly vandalized. But just to go back before we go into the bad, it's a roller coaster of emotions. I would say that he asked for anyone to come, and there was just lines and lines of people. El Paso had a place to mourn. I think it healed and gave some closure to the full community.
I think it didn't just help him.
Yeah,
I think the community as well. The community, I think on some level, maybe we're even looking for yet another reason to come together and show love and support for another. I mean, it was in a sense almost a kindness that he provided as well.
That's interesting.
As for the tragedy, was this car targeted?
I know.
I actually think it was. I mean, if you look at that car, and this is an insult to the owner of the car, that's not a car that you would normally flip for parts or a car that you would strip and sell. That was an older model car, and it doesn't even look like it was taken for a joyride. It looked like that window was purposely bashed, and it looked like it looked like vandalism. It didn't look like theft. It didn't look like 16-year-olds took it for a joyride, which, I'm hoping it looked like a late model, maybe a Ford or something. Yeah, Escape. You're right. I would love to see that company do something right, because, Erica, you know what I always say about human beings. For as much as we report on negative things, human beings, as we just saw with everybody line up, we are like white blood cells. We see problems and we coagulate and we fix the problem. There's more good things working towards it than bad things.
That's
so
beautifully said.
Let's never forget that.
That's beautifully said. And I think you're right about the community needed this too. I think you're absolutely right.
Feels like it.
You needed a place to mourn in a way. This is some breaking news, guys, and I'd love to get your opinion on this. It's very controversial. The officer in the Eric Garner case in New York has just been fired. Daniel Pantaleo was let go as a New York police officer after legal findings and recommendations found he can no longer effectively serve. He will not receive his pension. He had been accused of fatally choking Eric Garner in 2014, but last month, Attorney General William Barr declined to bring federal charges against him. I am clapping for myself. I don't know if you don't have to clap. Sure. I think he brutally murdered someone. He said, I can't breathe 11 times. Again, if you have a camera and something's happening, that video is the reason the judge said you lied. He said, I never did the chokehold. He obviously did. Eric Garner had asthma. He eventually died, and it was a full-on murder, and he was still getting paid for 5 years on desk duty. So today, and I know he didn't get federal charges, but there's some relief, I hope, for the Garner family. I hope.
In order for things to be because let's be clear, we're not anti-police here. I'm very grateful for our police departments. I have recently very much benefited from our police department. I do think that it is the responsibility of everyone to call a spade a spade. If there is someone on the force who is doing something that is inappropriate, that endangers everyone. It endangers our citizens. It endangers the police officers who are absolutely going to work every day in order to protect and serve. I think that we just need to be very clear. There's this idea that we want to throw the baby away with the bathwater all the time. Right. If we call something out, then that means the whole batch is spoiled. The whole batch is only spoiled if we don't identify the rot.
And just to speak on that, the judge, I read the opinion, said the testimonies of the witnesses and other cops all lied to protect him. So they still were on his side.
Well, it's
and
just
she called him out, saying it's a gross deviation of what a New York
Let's take this away
cop
from the
should be.
police. Let's take this away from Eric Garner. Did you watch the fights this weekend, MMA fights?
I did not. I saw some of it, but just the highlights.
Right. So, you know, in fighting, Tori, I know you're a huge MMA fan.
I love it. It's tattooed on me. Yep.
There's a lot of fighters that specialize in submissions. That's what they do. They grab your arm or they choke you out. That's how they make their living. The way the referee makes their living is when they see that another fighter is unconscious, they stop the fight right there. You can tell when another fighter is out.
Right.
If an MMA fighter this weekend passed away because a referee let the choke go so long that he died, would that guy be employed for another 5 years before the UFC did something about that?
No.
Absolutely not.
No chance.
There's no chance. He wouldn't make it through the rest of the night, and he might leave that arena in handcuffs. So the fact that a police officer is able to do this blows my mind. For 5 years, he collected checks from the civilians in that same community where he murdered somebody. It's an egregious offense, and it would not be tolerated in sports, much less on our streets.
I'm going to leave it right there. Cameron Matheson, don't go away, because coming up, we're going to grill you about your smoking hot Chippendales routine. DBL Nation, that's a harsh turn, dog.
I was just going to say, what a turn. Wow.
Then later, ABC is dropping hints about the new Dancing with the Stars cast. Got any guesses? And you guys are our viewers. You're our fifth host. Should moms and dads have to take mandatory parenting classes? What about getting a license? Those comments coming up next.
Well, hey there, DBL Nation. Happy Monday. Thanks for joining us today. We're happy you're here with us. Let us know how your weekend was in the comments. Give us your DBL take. Let's get to know Cameron. Let's go. Hi, Stu.
Hi.
Hey, guys.
Not that Hannah, but a different Hannah.
No, it is Hannah Brown, Bachelorette.
No, E-News is saying it, but we're not sure.
The smiley face?
No, I don't think she's any of those pictures. She's not any of the pictures, so don't get confused.
One of those categories, right?
They're saying, yes, they're saying Hannah Brown is official.
Is Hannah Brown the one who just was?
Yep, who was just a Bachelorette.
I kind of liked her.
She's great, but I don't think she's the one in the picture. I think Jeff's right. I think she's a soccer star.
Not a soccer star, a soccer star.
Stalker.
She could be both.
Soccer.
She could be both. It's not mutually exclusive.
Not start that.
Not receive his pension. How about Alcatraz time? I got to be honest with you guys. A lot of you wrote in, Travis, from Portland, Houston, Sacramento, Seattle. I'm getting it from Denver. All in Phoenix, I'm getting it. He should be in prison. Evelyn disagrees with us. This is Evelyn Jimenez says, this family took a payoff or settlement for his death. I don't agree with the officer being fired. Why did they take the money? The officer being fired is not going to bring Eric Gardner back. Besides, they settled for money. So I don't have any problem with them having money after. A lot of people sued wrongful death.
Brown Simpson family?
That's right. The Goldman sued.
Yes, they sued
and they got money. That's
case.
Exactly right. I think a lot of people, when they feel that justice hasn't been served, the only route is to go civil, and the only punishment is money.
Because using that argument, then there's no such thing as punitive damage.
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah. So
Evelyn,
if you're willing to throw away half of our legal system with punitive damages, then
if you want to get rid of the full civil right, a tort or a civil court system. Kathleen says, prayers for the family. Imagine if it was your family, you would want them behind bars so he couldn't do it again. I want to know if he can be a cop elsewhere. I don't know if he cannot be a New York cop, but I wonder if someone somewhere else is just going to hire him and put him on the force again. And that scares the little bejesus out of me.
Yeah, that's a rough one. I mean, we live in a different day and age now. We have to figure out how to.
Welcome back to DBL. It's time for Fifth Host when we talk about what you're talking about. Babies don't come with instructions, but could a mandatory parenting class be the answer? You need a license to drive a car and a permit to own a gun, but with the hot topic of parent shaming and so many tragic stories of child neglect, DBL Nation, should parenting require training and certification to obtain a license?
All right, Tori, let's do this. Hope from Facebook says, I've thought this for years. Parenting classes are needed. Hope, I completely agree with you. Look, I think when people hear the word license, they think red tape, and they're like, I don't want to do it. I just think about myself when I became a parent for the first time. Luckily, I had a strong support system behind me and people that knew what they were doing, but I did not. So I would assume that I'm not unique amongst 320 million Americans, and I think there's a lot of people that probably don't know how to heat up a baby bottle or what temperature it should be or how long a baby is crying before you should do something. So I don't know. It's okay to say that you don't know and don't panic. We're not going to take your kid from you. We're just going to show you how to do better.
So you're okay with mandatory classes?
Mandatory, yeah, even if it's online.
Right.
We just want to give you the best tools.
Okay.
I like it. All right, moving on. Here we go. Michael L. from YouTube says, I'd hate to have to be the one to write the parenting test. Michael, that's pretty insightful.
That sounds like a movie you'd be in.
Right. Yeah. Oh, my God, that's the next. That's a lifetime movie. That's not a Hallmark movie. You know what? From one perspective, I completely agree because there's so many different perspectives and philosophies, I think, from parenting experts. So who gets to write the test to know? Do you know what I'm trying to say? There's a lot of different philosophies. So what direction are you coming at with this? Do you know what I mean?
That's a good question.
Culturally, it's very different parenting.
It's very, very different. Who writes the test?
Well, Kathleen from Facebook says, I think about things like infant CPR. If your baby is choking, a parenting class would let parents know what to do. Kathleen, I don't think it's ever a bad idea to get more education on anything, especially when it comes to keeping someone alive. I don't say a whole lot about parents and parenting because I'm not a parent, but I do strongly
Erica,
feel...
you're me and Brandon's parent. Let's
That's true.
Well, other than Al and Brandon.
Children.
But I do strongly feel like although it takes a village to raise a child, if only the village is raising your child and you aren't, then it's time for some parenting classes.
And just a quick little FYI, I mean, this has nothing to do really with kids, but just learning certain techniques. My mom was out to dinner with, I've told you guys this before on the panel.
Right.
She's at a very nice restaurant with a colleague. This woman was a lawyer. This woman discreetly told my mom, follow me to the bathroom, I'm choking. And my mom did the Heimlich maneuver on her in a very fancy restaurant, and my mom had studied it, and it happened. So, I mean, these things happen.
That's an angel.
It's crazy.
Jackie, we love you. That's incredible. Michael R. from Facebook says, how would it even be possible to enforce this law? Yeah, we were kind of chatting about this in the break. I don't know how enforceable it is. Like, if you get an F, you get your child taken away. Also, culturally, my Jewish parents are going to raise me very different than my Irish Catholic in-laws. So I just don't think this is possible. I do like the idea of mandatory classes and government subsidizing some time for you to actually go and take those classes. I don't mind that idea.
I would love that.
Yeah, I like that. All right. Well, journalists and drama. There's a new show coming to Apple TV. Ooh, it looks good. Raquel Villanueva has details at the moment.
It sure does, Tori. The morning show is ripped straight from some of the biggest headlines in news, and it stars Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon.
Mitch Kessler, my co-host and partner of 15 years, was fired today.
Her sell-by date expired years ago. I want you to start grooming some new people.
I don't fit the mold.
What mold is that?
Any mold, really?
Now, the morning show will come out when Apple's new streaming service launches this fall.
So we were just kind of talking up here. Sorry to interrupt you, Raquel, but it sort of feels like a little Matt Lauery, to be honest.
A little.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I know Reese and Jennifer put this together. They wanted Apple TV to go forward. There's a group of women that have really started. They have big stars. And Reese is part of the Time's Up movement. So she put money where her mouth is. So interesting. I'll be watching.
Me too.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
I'm going to be watching that one for
All
sure.
right. You're not in that one?
I'm not in that one.
Okay.
No, maybe the next one.
Maybe next one. Coming up on DBL, supermodel Kate Upton puts the Victoria's Secret fashion show on blast. Wait till you hear what she called it. And next we get to know guest co-host Cameron Matheson just a little bit better. And he takes us behind the scenes of his new Hallmark movie, The Christmas Club. Don't miss it when we come back.
Hi, it's Raquel here with the DBL Digital team, and right now it's time for Fast Blast, where I give you all the trendy news you need to know in under 2 minutes. So let's get that timer up and get started. Now first, I'd like to talk to you about a medical breakthrough. Scientists say pigs could one day save our lives. Their hearts could soon be used for humans who need a transplant, and turns out their anatomy is really similar to ours. Now I knew I love Charlotte's Web for a reason. Now, attention to all shoppers addicted to Target. The chain is launching its own grocery store brand. It's called Good and Gather, and its products will be on the healthier side, no artificial colors or sweeteners, and you should start seeing it in stores next month. Mattel now is getting ready to debut the Barbie of my childhood dreams. The company is teaming up with Marvel and Star Wars, so soon you'll see Princess Leia and R2-D2 as Barbies. They will be available on Amazon just in time for Christmas. Now, let's talk about pizza.
We get there and I'm like, where's the pizza?
Specifically, watermelon pizza. A Reddit user brought it up and says he uses it with some balsamic vinegar. Now, I love pineapple on pizza, so I'm ready to give it a try. Other internet users, not so much. DBL Nation, what do you think? And that's today's Fast Blast. See you next time.
Welcome back to DBL. Our guest co-host, Cameron Matheson, is a busy man. You just took a brief hiatus from Hallmark's Home and Family to film The Christmas Club. So tell me all about it.
Well, yeah, so I'm on Home and Family on the Hallmark Channel, obviously, every day. And The Christmas Club is a Hallmark movie, so they were kind enough to let me off and kind of do this movie. And I've done a bunch of them before, but they're such sweet movies. We shoot these things in 3 weeks.
Really?
An entire movie in 3 weeks. They're like 15-hour days. So thank goodness they're feel good and easy. This is some behind-the-scenes footage that I shot for Home and Family. I promise I'm not sitting on Santa's lap, although I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, that can easily be in the script.
It's heartwarming.
But it's a very sweet story, co-starring Elizabeth Mitchell, who you might recognize from a lot of things, including Lost. Probably the sweetest, kindest, most positive person I've ever met in my entire life.
That's good to know.
I mean, the kind of person that when you're shooting on location and you hear the sirens that will stop a scene, you have to stop and restart again. I'm like, man, there's a lot of crime in this area that we're shooting. She's like, really? When I hear sirens, I think of babies being born.
Oh my God.
Wow. This is a person we're talking about, right?
She's amazing. She's amazing. That's Elizabeth Mitchell. She's the star of this movie. You'll love it. It's about second chances and Christmas miracles. And
This is kind of a random. Do you think that people that end up acting in a lot of Hallmark movies, do you think it just attracts people that are naturally, they want to act, but they don't kind of want to be bogged down in the Hollywood? Because it gets a little slimy sometimes when you're doing other types of shows.
I think that's a very, very big piece of the puzzle as to the decision making as to why people would do it. Because Hallmark and Hallmark Movies and Mystery, they got like 3 channels now, and we're getting really, really big stars. There's Oscar winners doing these movies. The pool of actors that are doing these movies that they make over 110 a year or something is just getting more wider and wider.
Like Medea movies.
Yeah, we're giving her a run for her money. That's
right.
But yeah, feel good, and I think people really love that. They know it's something that they can sit down with their kids and watch it, and then they know. I mean, I don't mean to spoil anything, but there's going to be a happy ending at the end.
Yeah,
there we go.
That's what we want.
We just need one with a really dark twist where people end up like, oh my God.
That's a different channel. That's a different
It'd be so random. All right, well, we have a very special message from your Home and Family style guy and friend of our show, Lawrence Zarian. Check this out.
One day I said to Cameron, "You're really good looking, like you're perfect. Please tell me that there's one thing that's not perfect." And he thought about it, and he thought about it.
Come on!
And he thought about it. So if you got nothing, that means you're perfect. And Cameron, I love you very much, and I will see you soon. And I will see my DBL family very soon. Have a great show.
LZ, we love you, and he's hysterical. I remember the moment he comes to me, he's like, give me, and the reason I paused is not because I don't have imperfections, is because I didn't know, like, how personal. I was like, what does he want to get? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know what.
It's a tough question.
I mean, got a lot. We've all got a lot.
Now, I have to ask the 2 women on this panel, is Cameron the kind of guy that you go on a first date with, and you come home, you call your friend, and you go, he's too perfect.
Yeah,
What's going on? Like this cannot be.
It's hashtag serial killer because you're always like, what's going on with this guy?
No. You're waiting on the shoe to drop. Like, oh, that would make sense.
Can we call my wife for a second? Can we get my wife on the phone because she'll be happy to let us in on a few imperfections.
That's
to
good
let
to
you know.
Well,
Would that be all right?
Speaking of your imperfections or perfections, you are also the host of Entertainment Tonight
Yes, I
Weekend,
am,
which
I am.
takes you to some unique locations like this Chippendale stage. Check it out.
This is it, my moment of pec-flexing, shirt-ripping truth.
I barely could get that. I mean, it was embarrassing. I was trying to be the whole cool guy, but the shirt wasn't ripping, and you know, it's a bad start if you're like trying to.
That was a bad start for you.
Listen, man.
I've called the girl the wrong name on a date, so I think that's a good start.
Okay, I was doing okay, man. I was okay, although it wasn't a date. It was part of the Cam series on ET where they put me up to a series of challenges. One of my favorite things I've done on any show I've ever worked on, that was one of them, being Chippendale's lip sync battle. I got to go on American Ninja Warrior, race Maseratis against Josh Duhamel. It was a fun series. Probably the race cars with Josh. He's a buddy of mine for a long time. We're on a racetrack. I mean,
my favorite's the Chippendale. Anywho, we will be right back.
Promote.
All right, what's up, DBL Nation? We have some comments from you guys. Sarah Astachio watching us on YouTube. What's up, Sarah? How are you, my dear? She says, I love you guys, and we love you back. We appreciate you guys watching. We feel the love all the way here in Denver. We have, and this is getting into the Eric Garner discussion. Bob Tavares watching us on Facebook says, wow, you can't even trust the police anymore. I liked what Erica had to say. Erica had a very scary situation. It's crazy, it wasn't even a month ago, where somebody broke into her home, let's just call it what it is, and the police were right there and everything worked perfectly. And like I always say, you never hear when things work perfectly. No one's saying that all police are bad. So let's stop that narrative. Remember Scantron tests, when they always say anything that's all or neither is usually the wrong answer. It's too simple. Just remember that. Okay, Pearl Turks watching us in Atlanta. What's up, Atlanta? Speaking on Eric Garner, she says today officers are second guessing what they should do. That is why so many are being killed. They have to protect themselves more. Pearl, I'll politely disagree with you. I think there were maybe 5 cops standing around a man. One, you could see a pair of handcuffs in there, standing around one man that was being choked, as we later found out, to death. So I think 5 versus 1 that's unconscious. I think the cops had a good chance there. James Vaughn, watching us on 11 Alive in Atlanta, says, yes, he probably, speaking about the cop, yes, he probably will be rehired again, and yes, he was the father of several children. They deserve some compensation. They lost the head of their household. Well said, James. And let's see, Michael Seifert Jr. What a good name. Michael Seifert Jr. watching us on King 5 in Seattle. Obviously speaking on the Eric Garner, says, they're supposed to serve and protect. He did not serve and protect. He killed the person. Cop or not, there is a punishment for that crime. And, you know, that's kind of where we are when you take a man's life. You need to be held accountable for that. And I don't believe that this man was. But that's my opinion, and that's why y'all watch. You watch. You like my opinion sometimes. Sometimes you don't. But you still watch because you know you love me, and you know I love you. Thanks, y'all.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing those comments. Erica, you have any comments?
I do. Happy Dee Dee is very happy. She says, "Hey, Cameron, welcome, handsome."
Erica, did she say anything about me?
Take a look. Let me look. No.
You guys, you got to scroll back a little bit. Scroll back to the first day.
Listen, that's very sweet. Thank you. Happy Dee Dee.
There you go.
Cameron,
Here's what's
glad
coming
you're
up
here,
next
man.
on DBL. Stay here.
The new season of Dancing with the Stars. And ABC is dropping contestant clues. Can you guess who they are? Then, heroism in action. When strangers save a sinking woman. But you'll never guess what made this rescue more difficult. And Cameron Matheson from Home and Family is sticking around. Don't miss his DBL take on all the trending stories when we come back.
Hey guys, today I am going to be trying my first ever corn dog. I've never seen a corn dog, I've never smelled a corn dog, tasted a corn dog, ever. The only time I've really heard about a corn dog, I think, if I'm correct, was when Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman said, "Let's pop a squat and eat a corn dog." That might be completely incorrect. I'm sure you guys will write in and let me know. But let the corn dog commence. Okay, so this is my first look at a corn dog. It looks slightly questionable, but I'm gonna sniff it. It kind of smells like it should taste like a donut. Okay, it's not hot, so I'm just gonna go for it. Do I just bite in? Just bite in? Just bite in. Oh, you know what? That's all right. It tastes kind of a little sweet. It tastes like a hot dog with sweet, chewy bread. You know what? With a bit of ketchup, I would rate this quite highly. 7 out of 10. To all the corn dog lovers out there, I salute you and I join the club.
Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Because everyone's talking about this.
Always live, always real, always unpredictable.
You are totally off base here.
Log on and join our live conversation.
I can't believe I'm saying this. I do agree with you.
DBL starts right now.
Welcome to Daily Blast Live. Al just asked if my dress comes with a rolling pin, so I feel like my self-esteem is high.
Not right. Not right. You look fantastic.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful dress.
Thank you. And I do think it comes with a
Yes,
rolling
and when
pin.
is the cake done?
Yep, the pie is on the windowsill. Now, we have a very special guest co-host, Cameron Matheson from Home and Family.
Thanks.
Yes!
Hey guys, good to be here.
We're so excited to have you.
Happy to be here.
We are live, so let's get started. Dancing with the Stars, speaking
Yes.
of, is keeping fans in the dark for a couple more days before they reveal who's competing this season. So far, we've seen these black and white pictures disguising all the faces. Now, the show will announce the contestants on Wednesday. Fans are speculating that friend of DBL and star of Queer Eye, Karamo Brown, will be joining the cast. From these clues, he went to Florida A&M University.
FAMU, home of the Rattlers.
There you go. He was on The Real World. You don't have anything for The Real World?
No.
And is known for bomber jackets like these.
Those are big clues.
Yes.
Those are big clues.
Come on, that's crazy. That's Karamo.
That's a gift.
Yes,
I mean,
that is. That's like, here you go. Now, you were on the season and you came in 5th.
I came in 5th in season 5, which was shocking to me and to many others. No, it was great. It was super, super hard show. And it's tough. It's very tough to pick, you know, who we think some of these little teasers are. But you got to remember when you're thinking about this that they really do cast in categories, right? You got the reality television show star, you got the athlete.
Yeah,
Bachelorette is its own entity altogether. When I did the show, there was like soap operas, but now it's moved on to just, you know, sort of like hunk category.
Yeah.
Not that I was in that category. No, I was in the soap category. There was actually a male model the year that I did, so he was the hunk.
There you go.
But you got to think
is
like
it as
that.
hard as it looks?
Oh my gosh, it's absolutely way harder than it looks. I promise you that. I'm in decent shape.
It looks
and I'm
super
telling
hard.
you, it's 10 times as hard. I mean, unless you're a dancer, I guess. I
What
wouldn't
was
know
the
that.
hardest dance for you to learn? Do you remember like something like you were just like, I can't do the foxtrot? What was it?
The cha-cha?
Yeah, it was like one of the cha-cha, one of those like little Latin kind of hip moving,
yeah.
kind of like what, you know, I thought it was going to be the rumba. I can't believe I'm even talking.
No, this is interesting.
But it's all that hip movement, you know, like I'm not a trained dancer, so that for sure. But the first week's dance, I think it was the foxtrot I did, I was so nervous, I literally physically could not feel my legs. I lost the feeling in my legs. And as they were saying my name, I was shaking them out. I was trying to get blood. I was like slapping them, trying to get blood in it, knowing that I'm about to perform this dance.
On your legs.
So far out, on my legs, out of my comfort zone. So I'd say that was my hardest dance to learn.
Yeah,
I couldn't.
getting out of your, like you said, your comfort zone. But just like, let me ask you this, because I've always said, I thought that the athletes always had an advantage because they do things for agility and things like that. They kind of,
coordination.
They literally move their feet for a living.
Yeah.
Do you think athletes have an unfair advantage?
I think on some level they have the fan support. They're used to competition. They're used to the pressure and all that. So there's
and the
that.
intensity, right?
But I'm going to take a little subcategory of the athletes and say the Olympic athletes that are used to, especially gymnasts and ice skaters, that are used to performing routines for judges, being judged on them. Massive advantage.
Yeah,
No doubt
it has
about
to be.
it.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, remember to always keep your mom in the loop in case of an emergency. This is important, people.
Did our moms write this?
I know. I was like, Judy? Even 49-year-old golf champ Phil Mickelson had to do this because yesterday his hotel caught on fire after getting struck by lightning. He was evacuated, and that's when he started live tweeting saying, may miss my tee time because I'm without clubs and clothes. He was in Illinois for the FedEx Cup playoff. He tweeted again saying, I'm going to make it. Turns out my clubs acted as a fire retardant, but then his sister called him out by saying, bro, you can't tweet this stuff until after you call mom. She would like a word. That's a good point. I think you got to think about all social media. Who hasn't seen it that is going to be very upset that you haven't told them first? There is an etiquette there. There's a netiquette, if you will.
And by the way, I wouldn't have thought of it. Like I would have been posting or tweeting or whatever I've been doing, and then just like Phil and heard about it later. Because,
Really?
But there is a little bit of an etiquette, and you know firsthand, don't you?
Yeah. Well, a few weeks ago, I've talked about that at a break-in, and there was video footage, and I talked to my dad before I was able to confirm or tell my mom because she was at a party and I didn't want to ruin it.
Good daughter, good daughter.
So I told my dad, and I was like, I haven't told mom yet. I'm waiting for her to call me back. And he posted the video on Facebook,
That's
and I'm
such
like,
a bad idea.
First of all, why are you posting this video on Facebook? And secondly, my mom is going to see this and freak out.
And she did?
Well, no, I called him, told him to take it down, and then called her and was like, okay, you got to get out of this party because somebody's going to say something to you, and then you're going to blow up my phone, and it's going to be a
You know,
big
your
deal.
dad was thinking, this is going viral. I'm putting this up there. I'm going to help my followers.
Like, of all things.
Yeah.
Your dad trying to get those likes.
Ever since he's been on Facebook, it's just been not good.
Roosevelt. Worry about you, Roosevelt.
He's going to be calling in a second here, I bet.
He's like,
Probably.
oh. I love his voice. All right, in case you missed it, the annual extravaganza known as the Victoria's Secret fashion show is not happening this year. One of the models who's a regular on the runway announced that a couple weeks ago. So when a viewer asked model Kate Upton what she thought about its cancellation on Watch What Happens Live, yeah, she didn't hold back. She said she's not disappointed at all. Take a look.
You know what? We're sick of seeing the same body type. You have to be body inclusive now. Every woman needs to be represented. Otherwise, it's a snooze fest.
So snooze fest. Now, Kate has modeled for the Victoria's Secret catalog, but she's never walked a Victoria's Secret runway show. I, for real, agree with her. Just, you know, business-wise, Victoria's Secret is plummeting. Their stocks are going way down. No one's tuning in to see this, and women are much more interested in buying bras from, in my opinion, women that look like us. So I think this is an antiquated fashion show that is no longer acceptable in the Me Too movement. I really do.
But don't you think that they're allowed to market their clothes how they choose? I don't know if we just watched you with the Chippendales, if you plunk down 50, 60, probably $75 a ticket to go see the Chippendales when you're in Vegas with your girlfriends, with your sister, whatever, and they were like, hey, guess what? Good news, guys. We got some body positive men coming out for you. Would you feel, and here I come trotting out straight from happy hour, would you guys be as happy and as like, is that a snooze fest, or would you rather see this or that?
I think it's a false equivalency, to be super honest, because
Talk to me.
Women have often been that model look. And
it's a model show.
I understand that, but we've seen that for decades and decades and decades, and we've seen anorexia rise and suicide by teenagers rise, and to have a difference, just another option, is important. Look at the numbers. Their business model, no pun intended, is failing.
I think it comes down to something that we don't talk about a lot. Just because something was the norm doesn't necessarily make it the right. And what you have is a fashion show, which makes total sense for there to be model sizes, because models were supposed to be walking hangers
yes.
in order for the clothing
right.
show to, it was all about the clothes.
Right, sample size.
It was all about the clothes. It was never really about the models until it became about the models, because then it was a sense of perfection. So people felt like if they deviated from that model, then they weren't an example of what was considered beautiful or what was considered attractive. And now we know that although Victoria's Secret is selling a fantasy, clearly that fantasy is dwindling in a way in terms of numbers and dollars, as Tori just so eloquently stated. However, we're now cool with saying there's more than one fantasy, and a lot of fantasies are being represented, and that's the reason why those fantasies are taking away from the Victoria's Secret fantasy.
I mean, your fantasy, can I be honest about this right now? You wouldn't want to see stick thin. You like a little curve.
You know I like my women. Yeah, I like it healthy.
Yeah.
Listen, healthy.
I think all of this is an indication. I'm just moving on from that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cameron. But I think it's an indication of how television and things are changing. Society is changing. I mean, if you think about some of the popular television shows out there these days, I mean, there's a lot. Back in the day, and maybe I'm thinking about daytime and when I was on the soaps, and we had that kind of like, you know, there was a lot of attractive people per capita, that fantasy aspect that you alluded to. I mean, things are changing all across the board. Society's changing, and it sounds like Victoria's Secret is just a little bit late to the game.
Yeah, their secret is we are not up to date. I thought that would.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like you wrote that last night. Like, this will get them. And then she wrote it next to her bed, and it's like, and I'll see you in the morning.
Yeah, that was. Quill pen. See you at midnight. All right,
and
we're moving on. Moving on to this heartwarming story. How does he know? Carnival Cruises is calling these two men heroes. Now, they helped rescue a passenger in a wheelchair who fell off the docks. Once the guys realized she was in trouble, they jumped in to help her. People on the ground eventually pulled her to safety, and now Carnival is offering the heroes a free cruise for their help.
Just one?
I was going to say, give them a cruise for life. They saved a human being. Give me a break. A beautiful statement, though, and I was going to say, my mom being in a wheelchair, she feels very helpless when you're not in it. You feel very vulnerable. I can't imagine being in water and not being able to even kick to get you to float.
Absolute heroes, for sure. I'm just going to point out one fact about this whole thing. That aqua blue water, like, I mean,
beautiful.
You know what I mean? Like, you're jumping in. Obviously, you want to be a hero no matter what, but I mean, it's a good place to be a hero.
I
would be in there with shark infested for sure. I'd be the first guy to jump in.
Totally.
Way to go, guys.
Yeah.
Look at that. That was like paradise.
That Carnival cruise ship, I do stand up for a living. I'm not doing this. That Fascination, that was the first boat that I ever worked, was the Carnival Fascination. I remember getting the work order for a Carnival Fascination. So I've been on maybe 100, 150 cruises that I've worked, and just like there is like a really positive vibe because everybody is on vacation. You're looking at that water. You're like, I saved up all year to be here. So for those guys to jump in there, and because it's the ocean, bro.
Yeah,
you know, and that's not a pool at the Hampton Inn.
Right.
It's very dangerous and very treacherous, and that drop down, that angle really didn't show it. For a cruise ship to be able to sidle up next to that, I mean, those are really deep waters.
Yeah,
so
and they're
that's
holding
a really
a rope.
heroic act.
Yeah, it's a lifesaver right
and way
there.
to kick, brother. That guy down there, that's a lot of cardio.
Beautiful. And good for Carnival Cruises. Maybe give them a cruise for life.
There we go.
You know what I'm
Throw
saying?
it up.
All right, Cameron, you're sticking around the whole hour. I'm not letting you leave.
That sounded like a threat.
It did seem like. Sorry. Coming up next on DVL, we're asking what the gram is going on. Well, you will have to explain your old Instagram posts.
Okay.
And a little later, easy tips to beat those allergies the old-fashioned way. Don't miss our natural remedies. That's coming up. All sizes. Again, if you don't know, Third Love called them out and said, would you ever do, do you want to read these?
No, it's all right. I've probably got them here somewhere.
They said, yo, why don't you have people of plus sizes? They didn't say yo, that was my own thing. And they said, we don't because we're selling the fantasy. And they said, we're not anyone's third love, we're Victoria's Secret. So then my friends who started Third Love came back and said, we're no one's first love, will be their last love though, because we represent real women. And in New York City on the subways, Columbus Station, just huge scars and, you know, women with rolls and they're wearing bras that I'm like, oh, that could look good. I could see myself in that.
Aren't they like when like, you know, when you buy like Under Armour or something from Dick's Sporting Goods or any kind of sport, this is not an ad for Dick's, but just, you know, the mannequin is jacked, you know, to kind of show you.
Bigger, like, I mean, 6'5", perfectly proportioned.
It's like JJ Watt.
Yeah.
And so it's like, aren't they selling the same thing to men? Like, if you get this sleeveless t-shirt, this is what you'll eventually look like, or this is what you'll look like in there?
Again, I think men and women.
Because they're trying to sell those t-shirts. So if they had a guy.
What do you think when you see those mannequins? When you walk in and you see that 6'4", perfectly proportioned, how do you feel?
I'm like, I want
you have no. You want that?
Yeah, I don't.
I feel about it. I feel like I got to get to the gym.
Yeah.
So you feel guilty? Okay,
I kind of do. I see that. I'm like,
in Dick's Sporting Goods, you probably are planning to go to the gym. That's not something you'd wear to like Thanksgiving. That's like a gym thing. So like, you get this shirt, you go to that gym, and you will look like this.
Yeah, but that's saying that's like a reasonable thing. There's no way I'm gonna ever look like anybody in that Victoria's Secret. They don't even have a shorter person. There's no one of size. They look identical. They look like sticks, and I'm not putting them down. I think it's great. But they're different bodies out there. And I think it's odd that they are being so consistent and not moving. And they're allowed to do so, but I'm allowed not to buy from there.
Now they're suffering because of it.
Yeah.
See?
You know, I do think the secret of Victoria's Secret was that it was started by a man, and that was the secret. And I'm being real. When they say Victoria's Secret,
you're forgetting how big the catalogs were. The catalogs were men and women.
Welcome back to DBL. Cameron Matheson is still here, and we're taking this opportunity to get to know you even better, sir. So, Cameron, you're pretty active on social media. You have a great Instagram feed, by the way. There's a lot of photos of traveling, some friends, some family, but we found a few pictures that could use a little context, okay? So, can you tell us, I wish there's music here, what the gram is going on in some of these pictures? All right, here's our very first photo. Oh, God, it looks like you're in an ice bath, and someone is plugging your nose.
Guess what? Guess who that man is right there? That's Laird Hamilton, legendary surfer, literally the creator of modern-day stand-up paddleboarding. I got to do a challenge, a can-cam challenge with Laird and his beautiful wife. Oh my gosh, I just blanked on her name.
Her beautiful,
his beautiful Gabrielle Reese. That's right. Thank you very much.
Oh, I paid attention to that documentary. Yes.
And so what happened in the ice bath, coming out of a 220-degree sauna, going right into a bath full of ice. I was having trouble breathing. My nose was clogging up. So I was blowing my nose into Laird's hand. He's like, blow your nose. Like, he's all in, man. He is all in.
Our friend Jen Wiederstrom, who is a co-host on this show, did it with Laird as well. And she says it got emotional sometimes getting in there. Can you explain that?
It sure seems. It's a bit of a spiritual journey. Like, they really take you on. It's like a 4-day experience. XPT Challenge, I think, is the name of what they call it. That could be wrong. But anyway, it's a beautiful journey. You cover health, diet, fitness, meditation, and I think a little self-discovery in there.
Wow.
I love that.
Yeah, it's really cool. And you're doing it with Laird Hamilton and Gabrielle Reese.
Oh my God. How long did you stay in the ice bath?
Not as long as I probably should have. Less than a minute.
You got in there.
Less than a minute. They wanted me in there for a couple minutes. I was like, I'm out.
That's interesting. All right, next you're missing some eyebrow. Tell me how this happened.
Okay, that is one of my favorite photos of all time. I can't really tell you. I mean, this is not really. So I'm going on the show, Home and Family. I'm getting ready. It's my first week or 2 weeks there. It's really humbling, but I have bushy eyebrows. I have a little like male eyebrow trimmer, and I'm trimming I usually just trim once a month. Just take a little bit off so they don't get too bushy. Sorry.
Oh no.
But I was kind of reading scripts and preparing for the day, and there's a little guide that goes on top of the eyebrow trimmer, and I was kind of like just adjusting it, and inadvertently I took the guide off, reading scripts. And I go, as I'm reading scripts, and I see all this hair fall down in front of my face. And I look up, this is like 10 days into my new show, co-hosting this show. And I basically saw that in the mirror.
I thought you had been in a bet that you lost.
No.
Okay.
No, that is what happened. I panicked. I ran into hair and makeup, like literally hyperventilating. They were all hysterical. They knew that they could cover it up with a little bit of eyeliner and stuff. I don't know, whatever they did. It wasn't so bad, but to me it was like, you feel my pain.
I do feel your pain. I mean, I've never done that.
I mean, you have done that.
I did do the classic, like, you know, your iron is too hot and you burn off your bangs. I did that growing up for sure.
Okay.
That's
well,
really
see?
scary.
That idea, but more sort of idiotic.
Yeah, exactly. Really, exactly. Finally, surrounded by ballerinas, but hold up, you look to be holding onto your own. What's going on here?
Well, this
is that a plie?
That I'm not sure. What do we call that, everybody? I have no idea.
It's called a bleu-bleu.
That red carpet Hallmark event, Christmas event. They have a big one every year, and their big. Wait, who's that beside me? I think that. No, maybe not.
The Nutcracker? Oh, that. Oh, yeah.
Anyway, it was their season big movie, and it was sort of based around ballerinas. So I just kind of crashed the ballerinas photo on the red carpet.
That looks like a dream that you tell your psychologist you keep having. Like, I'm back, and there's ballerinas. Like, what do the ballerinas mean? He's like, I don't know.
It manifested on the red carpet. It was
every Saturday.
Acid trip.
Yeah.
Here we go again with the red carpet. All right, coming up on DBL, fighting your allergies the natural way. Easy remedies you can do at home to start feeling better when we come back.
Did you see? So every time I go on here, everyone who lives in the pod evacuates quickly. Yes.
We live here now.
It's like your house. And then I just like come in as like an uninvited guest, and then like everyone scurries out. And it's a weird kind of power to have. Like, Alex just ran away. Like her chair is still freshly like turned. Let me like actually put it back in, and this is pretty meta. I can see myself behind her. That's how quickly she ran away. As you can see me talking to me on that screen. Anyway, I have an update to a story that we did a review on. Chris and I actually, he's over there, headphones on, but he'd be shocked to know the Good Boys. Guess what? I'm going to tell you and DBL Nation this. Good Boys topped the box office.
Really?
21 million.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, so it.
Really good movie. Go see it.
Yeah, the Hobbs and Shaw they thought was easily like take it, but this one it's the Seth Rogen movie. Kelly's asking about it. It's kind of like we have a review on it that's been playing.
Here's what I always want to know. Is it worth me going to see in theaters, or should I wait till it comes out on rental so I can stay in my sweatpants at home?
I mean, you could stay in your sweatpants at home and watch it and laugh just the same. It's
just
not
the same.
like,
okay, it's not like a 3D something I have to go
like
see
you
in
have
theaters.
to experience
okay,
this.
that's what I always want to know. Thank
you will laugh so hard.
That's all I want. That's all I want in a movie. I just want to laugh. That's all I want.
You'll like it then.
Okay,
so,
good. I like
I'm shocked
that. Good to
hear. It's the highest grossing this year for an original comedy. So
yeah, it overtook Hobbs and Shaw. I saw. Crazy.
Really proud of you guys. Good job. So anyway, we'll talk to you later, DBL Nation. Let me know if you saw the movie this weekend and what you think. Bye.
Bye.
Welcome back to DBL. Many of us think that allergies are their worst in the spring when the flowers are blooming. But get this, late summer and early fall can be just as bad. So instead of turning to over-the-counter allergy relief, I'm buzzing with a natural way to combat your allergies on today's So Clear, sponsored by So Clean. Honey is a kitchen staple, but a lot of us aren't using it till its full potential. Buying honey locally can actually help clear your allergies. So, we're here at B Squared to learn about its many health benefits. Beth, the things I do for DBL Nation. But we're here to learn. So, what are some of the health benefits with honey?
Honey's like the original superfood. Honey is an antifungal, antibacterial, antiviral, and a natural humectant. It's been around for forever, so it's the only food that's actually without a shelf life. If honey is for allergies, pollen is like warp speed for allergies because you actually are ingesting your allergen. So bees go in a 2.5 mile radius from their location, essentially consuming honey from local beehives is like consuming an anti-venom. It gives you minute amounts of the pollen that you're allergic to and raises your tolerance level for that pollen.
How should one take it? Do we take it by the spoonful or do we just douse it in our
By
meal?
the quart.
Yeah. Especially if you're buying it locally,
that's right?
Yeah.
The recommendation is a tablespoon in the morning and a tablespoon in the evening. Okay, there's that. Okay, over your head, senor.
Oh, snap.
Okay, cool.
It's getting real.
A bee makes 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey in its entire life. It takes 2 million flowers to create a pound of honey.
Wow.
Okay, so see this big fat bee right here?
Yes, ma'am.
That's a drone. Those are boys. The rest of them are all girls.
Oh, wow. I like that type of party.
There you go. That's right. So do they.
How come they're just chillaxing?
Because bees are busy.
And for more ways to rest easy, call So Clean at 1-800-619-4147. This is B London with the Jive from the Hive, and we just got the buzz on local honey. Oh, behave. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
We were just talking about coffee. Actually, this is a good question for the DBL Nation. I ran out of sugar for my coffee, so I use honey, and I know maple syrup is also something. And you use...
I mean, I use different things. I use sometimes I use stevia. Sometimes I'll use licorice root, which is obviously
licorice root.
Licorice root. So it doesn't taste like licorice, but it does have a sweetness to it. It doesn't taste the same as sugar, but it's a sweetness, and there's no calories, and it's very good for your immune system and your adrenals and things like that. It's a great thing to have. Like I try and have. There's things that you can have if you like that sweet taste.
I need that sweet.
That's not white sugar. White sugar is very, very tough on obviously your blood sugar, but also on inflammation. It causes inflammation massively throughout your body. Some people say it's poison, hard on your brain, hard for your focus. It's really hard on you.
I'm really learning now more about. I know also I learned that sugar feeds cancer, which I didn't know. That when you have cancer, it loves sugar. But I didn't realize how much sugar. You always say that. You say sugar is like a poison.
Yeah.
It's like I wasn't taught any of that. So anyway,
there was
if
a
you
New
have
York Times article back in the day. I think it was in the 60s. New York Times article. Excuse me. The New York Times article was recently, but back in the 60s, the story goes that there were Harvard scientists that were paid by the sugar industry to connect fat consumption with heart disease, and that became the whole. And so there was actually no direct correlation between fat consumption, especially healthy fats like olive oil and nuts and seeds and coconut oil, avocado, things like that, and heart disease. None, zero. But there is a correlation between carbohydrate getting stored.
We got duped by big pharma and big sugar.
I mean,
we did.
Yep.
I did.
I haven't done my recon on that, but this is what I'm hearing as far as the article. I don't want to come out there and say it.
I just noticed how people just cook and eat differently. Like I remember, there would be a big jar of sugar at all my family's houses in the 80s, and grandma 2 scoops of grandpa's coffee.
There'd be a jar of lard right next to it.
You just don't see that anymore. Like, when's the last time you just went and bought? I remember the pound of sugar.
That's what we buy.
That was just like, and you would run out. You would go through it.
That's what we have. So anyway, alternatives, DBL Nation. Let me know what you guys are using because I want to be healthier. Oh, so much.
Welcome back to DBL. Cameron, have you heard of the app TikTok?
Yes, my kids love it.
Mine do too.
Really?
If you have kids, you know, yes.
I thought it was
That's when
Kesha
Old Town
song.
Road blew up was on TikTok.
Really?
By the time I got done with TikTok, it was already a huge hit.
Interesting. Well, the app has a new video creation taking the internet by storm, and of course, it stars an adorable cat.
This is how I feel. I don't get it.
It's because it's weird enough. It's like Piano Cat. It's just really random. And the internet likes random things mixed with cats.
My kids' TikTok does not look like that. Like, they do kind of creative things with themselves on there, but I mean that's
Is this not
well done. It's yeah.
You know what?
We're talking about it.
Yeah, I like cat videos.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't seen the TikTok kombucha face one, a woman trying kombucha, try that. Try that out. All right, Cameron, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Thank you so much.
I had
We'll
a
see you
lot of
guys
fun.
tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye, guys.
Hey guys, this is Angelica. We're going to talk a little bit more to Cameron.
Well, hey, am I coming in? Coming in hot?
It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Okay, so
Thanks for having me.
Yes, thanks for coming on. So we're going to talk a little bit about, people that might not know you, some fun facts about you.
You for sure. It's okay. You don't have to be delicate. I mean, there's a lot of people that probably.
Okay, so first of all, you were born in Canada, right?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, pretty cool. So kind of just tell people at home kind of how you got started into your industry.
Yeah, so I grew up in Toronto and Montreal up in Canada, and I went into engineering school, McGill University in Montreal. I was a big math science guy, and oddly enough, my last summer before my last year of engineering, I couldn't find a job with my professors, and I was out at a bar, and somebody said you should try modeling, and I went to see an agency, and they kind of took me on, booked a job. That led to doing acting classes and doing commercials during my last year of engineering. Which led to me booking some jobs up in Canada. Fast forward to me going to New York and booking all my children just on a weekend. Like it just kind of fell into place like that. Super lucky, not typically the way it happens, and then from all my children, everything else.
And now you've kind of just skyrocketed from then.
Well, I mean, I've been very lucky. It's tough. This business is tough, the entertainment business, and to be working as an actor and a host pretty steadily for over 20 years, I've been, really lucky.
Yeah, what are you looking forward to next?
Well, I'm going to look forward to the rest of my time here with you guys, and then I'm on vacation right now here in Colorado. I get to see my mom and dad.
Nice.
And then starting September, back at Home and Family, which is a 2-hour show that we have on Hallmark Channel that I'm the co-host with Debbie Matenopoulos.
Awesome.
And check it out.
Okay, we'll see you later. Okay. Cool, thank you.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Because everyone's talking about this.
Always live, always real, always unpredictable.
You are totally off base here.
Log on and join our live conversation.
You think this hair just naturally stays like that?
DBL starts right now.
Welcome to Daily Blast Live. It's Monday, August 19th. I'm here with Erica Tori. I'm Jeff. Al is off, but we do have a very special guest, co-host Cameron Matheson from Hallmark's Family, among many, many other things. So happy you're here, Cam.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
I come visit you on a Hallmark
exactly right.
Family.
Now I'm returning the favor. Thanks for inviting me into your home.
Is this a bromance?
I hope so.
We're getting there.
Oh,
It's developing.
You know what we should do? We should play golf later.
You know, that sounds like an excellent idea. Why don't we do that?
I hear you're really good.
All right.
Are you not good at anything?
Lots of things. Tennis. I'm horrible at tennis.
Well, let's play tennis later. We're going to learn a lot about Cam right now, guys, but first we're going to jump right in. Authorities stopped 3 mass shootings, all because of tips from the public. First in Florida, authorities arrested this man on Friday. He had sent his ex-girlfriends a series of texts allegedly threatening to commit a mass shooting. She turned the text over to the authorities, and here's what they said about it.
This is how it's supposed to work. You see something, say something. Law enforcement does their job. We seize his weapons. He's under arrest.
And in Ohio, this 20-year-old was arrested for allegedly threatening to shoot up a Jewish community center. His Instagram account showed a man firing a gun, and that ultimately led to his arrest. A search of his home revealed several weapons, including 2 AR-15 style rifles, body armor, and a gas mask. Wow. And in Connecticut, police arrested this 22-year-old after he allegedly posted about committing mass murder on Facebook. Now, first of all, I want to applaud the authorities for finding these people before anything happened. But when you're posting things like on Facebook and on social media and leaving clues, I have to feel that you want notoriety. That's the only reason why you're doing this.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, you got to, but you think they want to be caught is something that we were talking about a little bit earlier too. You think they literally want that notoriety, but then to be stopped before it gets too far.
Right, like when we interviewed a would-be school shooter, I don't know if you guys remember that at this show.
Yeah.
He said he couldn't find a gun because there was an assault weapon ban, and he was looking for it, and he eventually started to tell people because he wanted someone psychologically to stop him before he did it. Now, I don't think that's everyone, but it's telling that everyone, the normal thing to see is notifying it on Facebook or social media before you do it. Now, maybe that's to galvanize the base, but it seems odd to me that you would do it beforehand. I'm glad you do, because now the authorities have a red flag law that they can take into account, which is awesome.
Right.
But I just don't get the mentioning it before seems to be this new.
I just think it's the notoriety, even for the people who go forward with it and commit the crime. I'm glad on this show we choose not to show their names or their faces. Okay. This was just, you know, obviously nothing happening, so we showed their faces. But I would like to not even show these people's faces.
You know, I don't mind showing this because it shows something that people aren't used to seeing. One, obviously, something's happening here because you have getting
That's a pattern.
Right. Well, anytime you're being taken down by the feds in this way, it's generally the worst day of your life. But you see this clown smiling at the camera.
Yeah, that was so weird.
So there's clearly a disconnect there, but also just the idea that we aren't just sitting ducks as people who actually follow some sort of moral compass. There are things that you can do, and you should encourage your children to speak up if they see something, say something. But I appreciate that we showed them being taken in, because that does something to someone when you see it. We're really good now at denying their names and their faces, but that also kind of alludes to something that has a sexiness for people because it seems like it's something cool to do.
Mm-hmm.
We need to show them being treated like the animals that they are.
Absolutely. Well, again, I want to applaud the authorities for cracking all three of these cases.
Thank goodness they're listening.
Absolutely. All right, guys, this just in. The officer in the Eric Garner case in New York has been fired. Daniel Pantaleo was let go as a New York police officer after legal findings and recommendations found he can no longer effectively serve. He will not receive his pension, and he had been accused of fatally choking Eric Garner in 2014, but last month Attorney General William Barr declined to bring federal charges against him. Tori, I know you've been following this very closely today.
Yeah, 5 years ago, the Garner family had this happen. It was recorded on camera. The officer did a chokehold, which was illegal at the time. He said, "I can't breathe," 11 times. Again, he was allegedly selling loose cigarettes. They took him down. He had an asthma attack. He died. The Garner family has wanted justice for 5 years. This officer has still been paid and on desk duty the entire time. I thought he should have been charged with first-degree murder, and I also think the Garner family has not seen any type of justice. Now, the judge in this case said he was not fitting. He was a gross deviation for an NYPD cop, and said that he lied on the stand, and his buddies backed him up on the stand. He is also allowed now to be a cop in any other jurisdiction, just not New York. So I have a fear that he's going to be somewhere random when this man murdered in broad daylight a person doing absolutely nothing wrong. So I applaud that he's being fired, but I don't think it's justice. I don't.
Agreed.
I think it's so dangerous. What we don't talk about is the idea of backing up someone who's clearly in the wrong, because there is a notion that if you admit that someone is in the wrong within this community, then it somehow spoils the entire bunch, as if everyone's in the wrong. I think that the way that things really get spoiled is by continuing to allow rot to stay within your community.
That's a good point.
And when you have have a police officer who is clearly doing the wrong thing and living by their own code of conduct, that's not only dangerous for the community, it's dangerous for their fellow officers.
Yeah.
Because now you lose faith in your police department.
And to be honest, on the stand, they asked specifically, did you do the chokehold? No, I did not. Did you do the chokehold? We see you on video doing the chokehold. No, I did not. When officers arrived, did you stop the chokehold? Yes, I did. No, you clasped your hands tighter. So he even lied to the judge with video. So it's so apparent. It's so overt, this sticking by each other. That's what's so strange.
And I'm all about swift justice, as you know, and you always say, hey, the government has to take their time to get it right. 5 years is a little egregious to get this one right.
It is too long. And shame again on Mayor de Blasio of New York, who promised the Garner family justice, has not shown it. A big mark on his career because of this. Huge.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we're going to switch gears a little bit here. Plus-size model, or supermodel, I should say, Ashley Graham is well known for celebrating her body, of course, right? Last Wednesday, she announced she's expecting her first child, and she's now following up with this, a nude Instagram photo showing off her stretch marks, and the caption says, same, but a little different, and fans are praising her. Like one person who wrote, I freaking love you for this. This is what real women look like.
It's what I look like naked.
Wow, that's a good visual.
Listen, it's fantastic. I think Ashley Graham has always been one to change the way that we're thinking about our bodies. And and I've had the opportunity to interview her a couple times, and she is just so unbelievably comfortable. She's not doing this for shock value. It just is, and it's beautiful to see. And coming from a guy, you know, in some ways, you know, got into the entertainment business largely based on aesthetics and really being focused on trying to get my body aesthetically instead of, like, you know, from a healthy point of view.
Right.
It's been very helpful for me. I got to be honest. I see her through the years, and especially now, showing stretch marks, and it's great. I'm getting a little older. It's like I can just take a breath and relax.
You're falling apart, Cam.
Well,
you're not falling apart.
I think Ashley Graham is so important because it's representation in a way that we're used to. We just talked about with the Victoria's Secret thing. It's like, there is more than one fantasy. There is more than one thing that people feel like, you know, this represents me and I feel proud. Because she's so proud, and honestly, she obviously is very comfortable in her skin, that releases and frees so many other people. But I do have to say that I am not down with the real woman movement thing.
Yeah, you've said that before.
I do not like the idea that we're calling certain women real and certain women, what, are they fake?
That's true.
I think it's really important that if we're going to be body inclusive, that we're inclusive of all bodies. It's kind of like with my natural hair thing. It's not that I think there's a hierarchy on hair. There's not a hierarchy on bodies. It's just that this wasn't even on the table. So for you to be more than a size 4 wasn't on the table to be considered beautiful. So it's the idea of bringing it to the table, not the idea that one's real and one's fake.
Is it the label of real body? Is that what you're not happy with?
It's that real woman. Like, this is what real women look like.
Okay.
Well, they're all real.
No, I get that. That makes sense.
Right. Because if you put that into any other category, especially when you're talking about aesthetics, that can go real wrong real quick.
Fast. Yeah. It's true. And right before this, Kourtney Kardashian, I don't know if you know, posted with her stretch marks, okay? And it went viral because, oh my God, it's amazing. And I appreciated that. I'll always back the Kardashians. However, this is what I don't look like, no one looks like Kourtney Kardashian. So just to see this was really refreshing, very eye-opening, I think, for a lot of men to see.
And especially for a pregnant woman.
Yes.
You know, I want to say, because my wife, every woman could relate to this. No matter what your body type is, you're going to get those stretch marks. Your body is going to change in ways that you never thought it would. So I think a lot of people can relate to this.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah,
very refreshing.
All right, Cam Matheson, don't go anywhere because coming up, we're going to grill you about your smoking hot Chippendales routine.
Wait, Jeffrey.
Chippendales.
Look at me. DBL Nation, you don't want to miss this. Then later, ABC is dropping new hints about Dancing with the Stars cast. You got any guesses? Who could that be? Ooh. And you, the viewer, are the fifth host. Should moms and dads have to take mandatory parenting classes? What about getting a license? Your comments next.
Bye. Someone keeps writing in, is Angelica back?
Wow,
She
really?
Is. Hey, Angelica, can you come here for a second?
Okay.
Like almost like a reddish blonde.
So no chance.
So
I think this person is like,
Okay, so if you didn't know, this is Angelica Lombardi, and she used to work here, and then she didn't work here, and things got bad, and clouds came across the sky, and she
made me realize
is back. She's back. So people wrote in and they said, "Did I just see an Angelica?" Yes. An Angelica sighting. So she is back and better than ever, and we're really happy to have her.
Excited.
So I just want to let the DBL Nation know anytime. You guys, she's back. Oh, Sue Bruce, welcome back, Angelica. There you go. Okay, Shirley D. Taft wrote this to you before. E.T., H&F, AMC, Mike Kingston, Ryan Lavery, Vince Powers, Noah Ferris, welcome Cameron Matheson.
Wow, that's amazing.
Have watched you for a long time, and it's all love, of course. Wink, wink. That's SDT.
Really sweet.
She's a longtime viewer. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you, ST.
I call her that SDT. I know.
SDT.
I know. I got to be careful with that. But Shirley she knows I'm careful.
Okay. With what?
Thank you, Shirley.
STD.
Oh,
yeah.
STD.
See what I mean?
I see.
Are you on board?
I wasn't on board. Now I'm on board.
Yeah.
I got it.
We're back on board. So a lot of people writing in.
That's really nice.
Joe Rivers wrote in saying he's diabetic. We were asking about what to replace your sugar in coffee, and I wanted to know what diabetics use for sweetening or sweet things. My sister recently became a diabetic, and it's been hard to sort of figure out, type 2, what you can or cannot eat. So I don't know the answer. What do diabetics put in their coffee?
I don't know either.
So I would love to find out. What's that?
Milk.
Oh, are you diabetic?
Yeah.
Hey! They put milk for sweetness, yeah?
Yeah, just no sugar.
Yeah,
Right
you just
on.
watch the blood sugar levels, right? So can you use natural sweeteners like stevia and things like that? Or does that trick the body?
I avoid it.
You avoid it? Because it can be confusing, right?
Yeah, and if you don't know, Jeff went through an amazing weight loss journey. How much weight did you lose?
Total 57.
And if you guys are ever in the Channel News building, there's always like his little bio on the wall out there. So you guys can check it out. Welcome back to DBL Time for Fifth Host, and we talk about what you're talking about. Babies don't come with instructions. Trust me, I know. But could a mandatory parenting class be the answer? You need a license to drive a car and a permit to own a gun. But with the hot topic of parent shaming and so many tragic stories of child neglect, DBL Nation, should parenting require training and certification to obtain a license? Good question.
All right, Michael R. from Facebook says, how would it even be possible to enforce this law? Michael, you know what? I don't know how it would be possible to enforce this law, but I do know that something needs to be done in extreme circumstances. There are over almost 500,000 kids who are in foster care right now. The system is completely overloaded. I don't think that everyone needs to be a parent, although I'm not going to shame individual parents.
Thank you for that, Erica.
That was nicely said.
Well done, well done. So moving along here, Nicole from Facebook says, as an adoptive parent, I had to prove that I was worthy of raising a child. So this is very possible, and I am for it. Now, let me ask you this. As an adoptive parent versus, parents that are having the child, I don't really see that one, needs to prove themselves more than the other.
Exactly.
Like, in other words, I'm sort of backing you up, Karen. I would say that, either way, I'm not really sure I'm 100% for this. I like the idea of mandatory kind of lessons or classes that you can take on some level, but whether you're an adoptive parent or you're not, either way, we're kind of coming in this without instruction.
Right, I was going to get your bag. You birth the child or whatever, you adopt the child.
Does that make sense?
You don't know what you're doing either way.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah, you don't know what you're doing either way.
My point is I wouldn't single yourself out as an adoptive
That's
parent.
a great point.
But it's interesting that I hadn't thought of adoptive parents do have to go through that step, and we don't if you're going to have a baby.
That's maybe her point. Maybe I missed that point.
Which is
maybe,
interesting.
Yeah, that's
Smart move. Well, Karen from Facebook says no, but I think there should be at least one mandatory parenting class in all high schools. Karen, that's really interesting. Yeah, some people would say that's a bit early, I think, but I don't. I think sex ed should be taught in middle school, but I'm a little bit more liberal, would you say, on that. I really like the idea of mandatory classes for a CPR, for choking, and also for anger management and postpartum depression, just to find out those symptoms. Because I think when the baby's crying and you've lost it, when do you know you've hit your limit? You might need to know that. It might help. So again, I'm not a parent. I don't want to shame, but mandatory classes subsidized by the government might be a good thing.
A little extra knowledge for anybody helps.
Yeah.
Hope from Facebook says, I have thought this for years. Parenting classes are needed. Hope, any extra knowledge like I just told Tori is welcome. I didn't know what I was doing with my children. still don't, but I'm learning as I go. You know what I mean? But to have a class and say, if you fail, your child's getting taken away, that seems a little extreme to me. And then who are the perfect parents making this test? Because there's no such thing. So I'm not down with the parent
Is it a
shaming,
white?
but
Is it a black? Is
we
it
could
a
all
Jewish?
use a little extra education, I feel like.
Yeah.
I think so too. And I think on one level we're talking about the ins and outs, like, you know, CPR and things like that, which I think is really important to have some education on. As far as actual parenting, I'm a strong believer in just love. Just love, be present, cherish your child. As far as the specifics about maybe some of the medical side of things, but I mean, you can't go wrong if you're there with your child and you love them and you wish them the best and you know, in a sense, put them before yourself.
Yeah.
You're there.
I don't know what class is going to teach you that.
Absolutely. Well said, Cam. Coming up on DBL, supermodel Kate Upton puts the Victoria's Secret fashion show on blast. Wait till you hear what she called it. And next, we get to know guest co-host Cameron Matheson a little better, and he takes us behind the scenes of his new Hallmark movie, The Christmas Club. Don't miss it when we come back.
Hi, it's Raquel here with the DBL Digital team, and right now it's time for Fast Blast, where I give you all the trendy news you need to know in under 2 minutes. So let's get that timer up and get started. Now first, I'd like to talk to you about a medical breakthrough. Scientists say pigs could one day save our lives. Their hearts could soon be used for humans who need a transplant, and turns out their anatomy is really similar to ours. Now, I knew I love Charlotte's Web for a reason. Now, attention to all shoppers addicted to Target. The chain is launching its own grocery store brand. It's called Good and Gather, and its products will be on the healthier side, no artificial colors or sweeteners, and you should start seeing it in stores next month. Mattel now is getting ready to debut the Barbie of my childhood dreams. The company is teaming up with Marvel and Star Wars, so soon you'll see Princess Leia and R2-D2 as Barbies. They will be available on Amazon just in time for Christmas. Now let's talk about pizza.
We get there and I'm like, where's the pizza?
Specifically, watermelon pizza. A Reddit user brought it up and says he uses it with some balsamic vinegar. Now, I love pineapple on pizza, so I'm ready to give it a try. Other internet users, not so much. DBL Nation, what do you think? And that's today's Fast Blast. See you next time.
Welcome back to DBL. Our guest host, Cameron Matheson, is a busy man. He just took a brief hiatus from Hallmark's Home and Family to film The Christmas Club.
That's right.
Is that like a take on The Breakfast Club?
It's, well, you know, not exactly.
Funny.
By the way, do you know what The Christmas Club means? So this is a Hallmark movie that I shot on my, my daily job on Home and Family, which is a talk show on Hallmark Channel. They were kind enough to let me out to do this very sweet movie. I've done a few of them for Hallmark, and I love it. But the name, The Christmas Club, it actually is something that people can join. It was more popular in the 50s and 60s. You join a Christmas club to help raise money for each other to help you buy Christmas presents.
That's cute.
So it's like pooling together your money to help buy meaningful gifts for each other. And that's what the movie is sort of based on, the essence of the Christmas Club or a Christmas Club and random acts of kindness and Christmas miracles. And I am sitting on Santa.
Is this part of the movie? What's going on here?
Well, that's me. This is actually some behind-the-scenes footage I shot for Home and Family. I literally shot that on my iPhone.
That's crazy.
But you know, it's nice because obviously Home and Family's on Hallmark Channel. We're shooting a movie for Hallmark, and we love to get some behind-the-scenes. These movies shoot in 15 days. Sometimes we shoot all night. That's fake snow. I don't know what I'm up to, but I'm just trying. I mean, we're making Christmas movies in July.
Yeah, that is weird.
You know what I'm saying? So we're wearing scarves and hats. I am melting underneath that right now.
Does it get you in the mood a little bit, though? Does it?
Oh, the Christmas decorations, Christmas lights?
Yeah.
Completely. It's kind of like a Pavlov's dog.
Yeah.
Like you see it and you're like, oh, Christmas.
You
It's
smell
amazing.
cinnamon or nutmeg and you're like, I'm in.
That's my point. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I love it.
Very jealous about that. And we do have a special message from your Home and Family style guy and friend of our show, Lawrence Zarian. Let's check it out.
Okay.
One day I said to Cameron, "You're really good looking.
Wow.
Like
a lot of pressure.
like you're perfect. Please tell me that there's one thing that's not perfect." And he thought about it, and he thought about it, And he thought about it. So if you got nothing, that means you're perfect.
No!
And Cameron, I love you very much, and I will see you soon. And I will see my DBL family very soon. Have a great show.
Love you, LZ, and that's funny. And I remember when he did that. It was because he kind of caught me off guard, and I'm like, well, do I get personal here? Does he want to know, like, my perfectionism? Does he want to know that I'm not a great tennis player? Like, what's he looking for here?
That's true.
But I was silent for too long, and it made me seem like, let me try and find an imperfection. Like, it really didn't feel like that, and I realized how ridiculous I looked, but I've got many, LZ.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you have any imperfections?
I think my temper. I've got it under control a little bit, but sometimes.
Good to be aware of it, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any?
Responsibility about being more on time and cleaning up after myself and just being a better adult, taking more responsibility for my actions.
/ co-host.
Yeah.
/ co-host.
You got a lot of serious talking about that. Like, I could see it. I kind of come over you.
We have one dressing room for 8 hosts.
She has gotten better.
And I have gotten better, but I used to just like toss it like I didn't, it was awful.
But
anyway, I've gotten better.
You should see the green room
Your
right now
badge
with my
is under the desk here.
Oh, that's where it is. My
There
badge
it
is under. Okay, good.
Do you have any imperfections, Erica?
Oh, I have a lot. Yup.
Just gonna leave it at that?
I like that.
I tend to go in, like I do tend to bring a gun to a knife fight. I mean, but it's because I'm very much like, don't start none, won't be none, and then you start some, and then I have to bring the gun to the knife fight. It's just not a great thing.
So it sort of like builds up and comes out because you say you're very laid back about stuff until the switch happens?
I try to be, and then it happens, and then it's just, it's a wrap.
And then
I hear you. I hear that.
Well, on that note, I don't know where we're going.
We're gonna let it go. But I'll tell you what, we do have another segment coming up. We're gonna do it in the next one. A little Chippendales action that you did.
Yes.
What?
We're gonna save it.
Okay. I've got a lot to say about this.
We'll talk about it in the break. We'll talk about it in the break. We'll be right back.
Ow.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
So what the answer is, maybe we could Google it while we're talking about it.
I just did. So we wanted to know why it's called Chippendales, because we thought, wait, aren't those animated cartoons or chipmunks?
For Disney.
Who came first?
Right. And it was actually, the surname Chippendale is actually a famous cabinetry maker, which I love watching on Antique Roadshow.
Chippendale?
Yeah, Thomas Chippendale.
And so what does that have to do with...
Was he a stripper?
No.
Stripping.
Okay, Chippendales is a touring dance troupe best known for its male striptease.
Yes.
Established in 1979.
Okay. Named after Chip and Dale from...
History, let's see. It was started when a young attorney purchased a nightclub known as Destiny. He was the owner of a mobile gas station. He pitched a show and then named it Chippendale. Oh, the name was suggested because of the club had Chippendale-style furniture. So it did come in handy.
Okay, back to Antique Roadshow. That's how you bring it all back.
Wow, that's
She's a
interesting.
big fan over here, very excited.
So what do stripping and Antique Roadshow have in common?
That is way good.
That could be a great trivia pursuit question.
And can you strip your Chippendale furniture? You know what I mean? Huh?
You took it to a whole new
Too
level.
much.
Or too far. We like to say too far here.
Too far.
One step too far.
Anyway, who knew that the Chippendales male striptease was named after
How many people are you going to tell this after the
But
show?
why would he do that? Like, so yeah, he's like, oh, I got an idea. I know what to call it.
You know why?
I have Chippendale furniture. Like,
I think it classes up the joint. It's like calling something Wedgwood.
When was the
I shouldn't
last
have said
strip
that.
show
That
you went
sounds
to?
very bad.
Here's an interesting trivia
you could've called
question.
it Wedgwood.
I could have called it Wedgwood.
What was the last strip show you went to that you noticed the furniture?
Wow. Never.
have you guys ever seen Well, not Jeff, but it's Chippendales. Did you go see a Chippendales?
No, but I've
show?
seen strip clubs, but not the Chippendales.
Chippendales show
right.
that they put on. Did
Have
you
you
ever
seen
seen
it,
it?
Erica?
Is it Vegas or?
Yeah, it's in Vegas. And I had to sit in the audience for it, and I know I'm on camera for this. I'm sitting back waiting for them to call me up because I just do the t-shirt.
We're going to do
thing
this
and then I'm
segment
done.
next, so tease it a
And this is
little
the
bit.
truth. This is the truth. I'm watching it, and I'm like, this is a good show. Like, I was watching it going like, I get it. Like,
It's
I get
all
why this is all over the world.
Is it all? Yeah.
What's that?
It's all choreographed, everything?
It's all choreographed. They have different numbers. They come in the audience. They get the winner.
like
And
it.
I'm like, it's a party, man. I totally get this. Why could people come to this?
And they each have their own
the
song.
name was like, to me, it's like slimy and cheesy. And then I get there and I'm like, oh,
It's well
yeah,
produced.
it's a show.
What hotel is it at?
Caesars maybe or something?
I think I did.
No,
Not very memorable though.
Well, now they do
Right.
Yeah, the Thunder Down Under.
I'm not sure what it was, but I remember being like,
oh,
all right. It's
There's
not as
billboards
slimy
I just
as
went there.
you.
There's Thunder Down Under everywhere. Thunder Down Under. Welcome back to DBL. We have one more surprise for you from our guest co-host Cameron Matheson. You guys should join us in the break.
It's good.
It's a lot of fun.
Good
You're
stuff.
also the host of Entertainment Tonight Weekend, which takes you to some very unique locations, like the Chippendale set that we mentioned before we left. What was that like?
Wow, that was, listen, I got to tell you something. We did this series on Entertainment Tonight called Can Cam. They put me up to these challenges. One of them was to try and be a Chippendale dancer for the night, and I wasn't fully all in, but well, all in, you know, just the shirt came off.
Let's check it out.
Let's see a visual.
This is it, my moment.
I love your voiceover.
Flexing, shirt-ripping truth.
Oh, Tyson Beckford, ladies and gentlemen.
Jeez. He looks fantastic.
Yeah!
You pulled it off, though. You got out of it. That's the important thing.
I got out of it. It was nerve-wracking. I was like, oddly enough, a little bit nervous. It was, intimidating being next to Tyson Beckford, who's the guy standing right next to me. But you know, it's just all.
You look
fun.
great, man. You look great as always. Here's what's coming up next.
The new season of Dancing with the Stars is around the corner, and ABC is dropping contestant clues. Can you guess who they are? Then, heroism in action, when strangers save a sinking woman. But you'll never guess what made this rescue more difficult. And Cameron Matheson from Home and Family is sticking around. Don't miss his DBL take on all the trending stories when we come back.
Hi, DBL Nation. How's it going? How was your weekend? I'm a little sleepy. My parents came back into town. They were out of the country for a while, and I am tired. And speaking of weekends, let me tell you about what Wendy Williams did this weekend. Oh, also, I just want to point out, I see you. Alex usually sits right here. And this is what I do when I come do my hits. Can I show where I've reduced you to sitting?
Yeah.
This is where she has to hang out. It's right here. She has to lift up someone's hat. And then she has somewhere to sit. Do you mind if she sits behind me during the hits?
That'd be nice.
Let us know. I think it's okay. Dude, just go right now. You can go there. She's coming back every time. You can see it in the shot of her running away. Look how good that looks. Now it looks like I'm getting a newsroom and an office. I'm really feeling this. Just type, but whatever you have on your screen, just make sure it's not more distracting than what I'm saying. Okay, that's even better. It's a Raquel-inception. Rackception is going on right now. Okay, I had a story about Wendy Williams. You can look it up. 50 Cent wouldn't let her in a party. She was there to see Snoop Dogg. It all worked out in the end. 50 Cent has a habit of doing this. Look it up. Anyway, that was going to be my story. But, oh, I thought you could still see me in the background. I was really excited for that. Can we make that happen again? Thank you. Actually, since you can see the comments now, has anyone said anything about you sitting here?
Let's see.
Let's see. We're looking. We're waiting.
No, they don't care.
See?
I care about them. They don't care about me.
They care about you. Say it, Alex. She's going to sit behind me from now on. Anyway, I will talk to you later, DBL Nation. Bye.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Because everyone's talking about this.
Always live, always real, always unpredictable.
You are totally off base here.
Log on and join our live conversation.
You think this hair just naturally stays like this?
DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Welcome to Daily Blast Blast Live. We have a very special guest co-host, Cameron Matheson from
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for being here, Cam.
Thanks for having me.
Love having you. Putting in a good day's work here, huh,
I'm
Cam?
telling you right now, it's fantastic. You guys, you
put our
you
work
get here in the morning and you work hard all day, and I appreciate that.
Same as you, man. Same as you guys at Home and Family over there.
Romance.
We got a half hour left. Oh, we're getting there. We're getting there.
There's a lot of love.
All right, guys. Dancing with the Stars is keeping fans in the dark for a couple more days before they reveal who's competing this season. So far, we've seen these black and white pictures, look closely, disguising all the faces. The show will announce the contestants on Wednesday, but fans are speculating that friends of DBL, or the friend of DBL, and star of Queer Eye Karamo Brown will be joining the cast from these clues. See if you could figure this out. He went to Florida A&M University. I'm not sure if that's true about Karamo. Was on The Real World.
Was on The Real
I know
World.
he did that.
He was.
And is known for bomber jackets like these. He definitely is.
For sure. That's him for sure.
And as you know, look at Cam.
Whoa.
He was on season 5 of Dancing with the Stars. I would have that framed, by the way.
I mean, that's just me on any given weekend.
It's just
really, that's just how I roll with my wife on a Friday night.
Stunning.
No, honestly, that photo makes me look way better than I was out there. But I like that.
How was it? Was it
incredibly hard, but incredibly satisfying in a weird way? The time I did the show, it was one of the biggest shows in the country, and like everywhere you went, people talked about it. You felt like you were part of like the biggest playoff season of, it was just a really fun, intense. But I was shooting on the East Coast at the same time, flying back and forth. So it was the most challenging thing and most nerve-wracking thing I've ever done. Easily,
really?
Hands down. Nothing comes close.
You said when the very first dance, your legs were jello, or what? You couldn't feel them?
They weren't even jello. Like somehow, I don't know how my nerves manifested in complete numbness in my legs. Like I was shaking them and trying to get the blood to go as they're calling, dancing the foxtrot, Cameron. And I'm like, I can't feel my legs, and that's true. And I pulled it off, but.
5th is pretty good. Who won that season? You remember?
Elio Castroneves won. He's a race car driver. Mel B, I think, came second from Spice Girls.
You secretly hate him?
Like for a while there I did, but he's like one of the nicest guys on the planet. He's become a buddy of mine. So
all right, fair enough.
And by the way, deserved it. He was better than me, so
Well, you
that
did pretty good from that photo. I know, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. All right, guys, journalists and drama. There's a new show coming to Apple TV. Let's get up to Raquel Villanueva, who has the details.
That's right, Jeff. The morning show is ripped straight from the headlines of some of the biggest news stories, and it stars Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon.
Mitch Kessler, my co-host and partner of 15 years, was fired today.
Her sell-by date expired years ago. I want you to start grooming some new people.
I don't fit the mold.
What mold is that?
Any mold, really?
Well, the morning show will come out when Apple's new streaming service launches this fall.
Thank you, Raquel. Where do you think they got the idea for that?
Weird. I want to know who wrote it, who had the guts to put it on paper, because everybody knows. We're talking a little, most likely. Matt Lauer comes to mind.
And I know that Reese Witherspoon put money behind the Time's Up movement, the Me Too movement. These two women, are helping Apple start off their competition with Netflix. So they put money into this. So you're going to see some big stars in Apple TV. They put a lot of money. Let's see if it can beat Netflix.
What comes to mind for me also is that Reese and Jennifer for sure had been interviewed by Matt Lauer in the past. And I wonder if they were personally motivated for some reason. Now I'm really speculating, but just wondering.
I'm tuning in. Looks.
I think it's a story that needs to be told in some capacity because, the way that I naturally gravitate towards stories like this because it's interesting to see how you do it in Hollywood versus how it really goes down.
Yeah, right.
So I want to see it. When I first heard the audio, it sounded like something that came from our set, but
totally, it totally did. It totally did.
I'm excited for it. I think it'll be great acting. Steve Carell too, playing a bad guy. Excited
I know.
to see that.
Star power, like you said, is crazy. In this movie. All right, guys. In case you missed it, the annual extravaganza known as the Victoria's Secret Fashion Show is not happening this year. One of the models who's a regular on the runway announced that a couple weeks ago. So when a viewer asked Kate Upton what she thought about its cancellation on Watch What Happens Live, she said she's not disappointed. Watch.
You know what? We're sick of seeing the same body type. You have to be body inclusive now. Every woman needs to be represented. Otherwise, it's a snooze fest.
And Kate has modeled for Victoria's Secret, but never walked in a Victoria's Secret fashion show.
Right. I mean, I just think, to be super honest and very quick, the Victoria's Secret show had become irrelevant. And I say that immersed in the Me Too movement, it was tone deaf.
Yep.
They didn't read the room. I mean, a couple months ago, Ed Raskin, I believe, the guy who then eventually left, the CEO, said, we aren't going to show obese people or people of plus size because we are looking for the fantasy. Well, their stocks have plummeted and no one's watching. As a female, I have consumer power. It's my wallet, and I'm going to spend it on someone that understands what my body type looks like. I'm not going to do it on this.
I remember back in the day being like so incredibly excited. I know I'm a dude watching the Victoria's Secret fashion, but it was a big deal, and it was like, you look for the models and what was going on. Honestly, I could completely care less at this point. So it's interesting.
The climate has changed.
Like snooze fest for me. It is a snooze fest. Like, I mean, or it would have been had it been on this year.
You're right. Back in the day, I was looking forward to like when Jay-Z performed with Kanye West.
Right. You're looking for the performances.
You're looking for, and the women aren't bad to look at either. But I'm surprised that Kate Upton's saying this, even though she didn't walk in the fashion show. She is a different body style that isn't in the fashion show. So for her to take a shot at Victoria's Secret is interesting.
I wonder if she wasn't allowed to walk.
I don't think it's to take a shot, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was the idea that she wasn't allowed to walk.
I don't think she was allowed to walk.
Because the models have been very transparent about the Victoria's Secret fashion show diet. So that means that everyone needs to look a certain way, and if they didn't look a certain way, they didn't walk. I don't think she's taking a shot. I think she's being transparent, and Kate Upton has never been one to hold her tongue. I think that she should say these things because it's important that we understand when it really comes down to our dollars and cents. If people aren't responding to actually watching it and spending their money, then therefore it goes away. I think that we now are okay with the idea of there being more than one fantasy that we can celebrate and feel really good about. And I think Victoria's Secret has its place, but clearly it's not the place that's on the pedestal that it was 10 years ago.
Yeah, and just to follow up, she did have a Me Too movement with Terry Richardson when she was being photographed for Me Too. She felt violated in a way. So she's part of this movement. So interesting for her. She is someone that I would appreciate hearing from, actually.
All right. So, Tori, you have a transition from Victoria's Secret to alligators?
See you later, alligator.
Thanks for helping me out with that one. Alligators in Florida are everywhere, and the new video is showing them really leveling up. Check this out. First, check out this alligator that climbed over a fence at the Naval Air Station in Jacksonville. Who knew alligators could even climb fences, by the way? Here he goes. What? All right, and this is a man captured this picture of an alligator swimming in an intersection. He asked, who is playing Jumanji in St. Petersburg, Florida?
You love it.
I do love it.
I know, and I don't mean to be a bummer, but when we start to see things like Miami underwater, you're going to start to see underwater animals in Miami. So I'm not saying this is something directly due to climate change. I'm not a scientist, but I imagine habitats will become much more mixed with humans because there's nowhere else to go.
I can't believe you took it.
And they're climbing fences.
I can't believe you took it to climate change.
I'm sorry.
We're just having a good time with Jumanji and you brought it there.
They just climbed a chain link fence. I mean, I'm still in awe.
They're evolving.
They're meth gators.
Oh, boy.
Well, there's a lot.
They've been around a while, by the way. I don't know how many,
In Miami, they say, like, in the wilderness, because people get exotic animals.
Right.
And they buy them and then they can't control them anymore. So they just let them go and they thrive in that environment.
Oh my
so
God.
There's like crazy animals all over Miami.
Well, also people are draining meth down into sewers, like the remnants, and it's making meth gators.
So they're turning like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I'm loving this story.
Raphael, Leonardo?
We should write it. We should write.
Let's do it.
Write it and produce it. We're going to get it out first.
All
right.
Meth gators?
They're going into
It's a different
sewers.
story.
That's the title. I mean,
that's it. It writes itself.
Yeah, it writes itself.
We're getting a little goofy here, as always. All right, let's check out this next story. This is a feel-good story. Carnival Cruises is calling these two men heroes. They helped rescue a passenger in a wheelchair who fell off the docks. Once the guys realized this, she was in trouble. They jumped in to help, and people on the ground eventually pulled her to safety. Now Carnival Cruises is offering these heroes a free cruise for their help.
They should do more than that.
Absolutely.
They get free. Look at that. That person risked their life. Look, so he's tying that other person to her.
Yeah,
it
looks like she's not able to hold on to the buoy. Yeah. Like that's, gosh, heartbreaking. But at the same time, that's just, I mean, in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
If you saw, obviously, we'd just jump right in. Good for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't mean to diminish this or anything, but I do want to put a Larry David twist on this. Who pays for your cell phone when you jump into water? Because you're immediately jumping in there to save this person. Then when you get out and you're like, My phone's ruined.
Really, Jeff?
So who's going to pay for that?
I would check my pockets.
Maybe Apple will step
I would do a quick check.
Would you quick check?
See, if I saw someone drowning, I would just jump in, then after the fact, I'd call my wife to be like, hey, I just saved someone, but now my phone's broke. Carnival? Lady? Who's helping me out with my $1,000 phone?
That's where the mind goes. I'm getting to know you more and more. It's
See what I mean, though?
Well, I hear you.
But you
I hear you.
That's about right. You fit in well out here. A lot of people hear me. They just don't see my point of view.
That's right.
That's about right. All right, Cam, you're sticking around for the whole hour. You're going to get some more Jeff-isms, hopefully, because coming up next on DBL, we're asking what the gram is going on, where you'll have to explain your old Instagram posts, and a little later, easy tips to beat those allergies the old-fashioned way. Don't miss our natural remedies coming up. Your allergies, and I think who did that? Stephanie or Al? Stephanie did, right?
Brandon.
Cool.
Good job on that.
I'm on top of the calls. But Brandon told me they do help with not all allergies, or just like a cold. There's one specific allergy that it helps.
Okay, so when everyone got here, because Denver had like excessive flooding the year before, and that always creates more issues with allergies. So when we got here, or when everyone moved here, I was like, get local honey, because local honey in that season is a way to kind of temper like you're having a really terrible like allergy flare up. So I was like all about this, and then probably 6 to 8 months later, we did a story where it was like, that's not true.
And then she went out and bought like a giant thing of Colorado honey. I still have it. It's huge.
You're supposed to get the little ones.
I know.
Because
mine was from Costco.
You're supposed to get it from your local, like whatever. The ones down here are market, like it's like a co-op market space and stuff. So you get local ones, you get a small one, and then you just put it in your tea or like have a spoonful each season. It's supposed to help.
Right. So someone did say it does help for like a specific allergy, but not all of them.
Yeah. Flonase helps me too.
Hey, speaking of that, we have Cam wrestling crocodile, so you could do the alligator thing there.
That's fantastic. What is it, sea alligator, alligator?
No, I'm saying the meth alligator.
Oh, good call. I can
honey.
retract it.
Yeah.
Now, there is something that Tennessee police did advocate. Don't flush your meth down the sewers for fear of creating meth gators. But you are correct, Erica and Chris. There aren't currently meth gators.
Do they give you any alternatives of what to do with your leftover meth?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Gators can climb trees as well.
By the way, let's be clear. Nobody's flushing like.
That's what I'm saying.
They're flushing the waste that comes from.
Welcome back to DBL. Cam Matheson is still here, and we're taking this opportunity to get to know you even better. Right. Cam, you're pretty active on social media, right? You have a great Instagram feed, by the way.
Thank you.
A lot of photos of your traveling there, friends and family. But we found a few pictures that we just need a little context for. Okay, so can you help us out with this?
You got it. Yeah.
And tell us what the gram is going on in some of these pictures. First up, looks like you're having some fun in the tub here. What's going on?
A little outdoor tub action right there, right? By the way, it was freezing outside. I'm just going to say that. And we were staying. My wife has an amazing ability of finding really unique Airbnbs. This was like an Airstream out in the Malibu mountains that had this outdoor bath area that we didn't use except for Instagram. I was like, you ready? Turn the hop in the tub. Took the photo, in and out. But, you know.
I love it. It's
made for a good post.
It's great for the gram.
You do it for the gram.
Absolutely.
Do it for the gram.
And here you're wrestling a meth alligator.
No.
Is this right? No, this is a crocodile.
Oh my gosh. This was, in all honesty, guys, this is the chance of an absolute lifetime. Again, it was just a can-cam challenge. They sent me to Australia. The northern tip, obviously with the Irwin family there, and they get these alligators. I was going to say rescue them. They don't rescue them, but they tag them and they monitor them to better understand them. Excuse me, I call it an alligator, it's a crocodile. And And I was part of it. That was 15 feet long.
my God. Wow.
And was caught in, they catch them in the little cages they have alongside the river. Then they tag them and they re-release them like that.
Right.
In a way that seemingly doesn't harm them at all. It's pretty amazing. They study them so they can help them, and I was part of it, and it blew my mind.
And
It blew my mind.
How amazing is that family? Is it what
Everything
you think?
you see with the Irwin family, like on the social media and Bindi being so, they're even kinder and more genuine and down to earth. They are amazing, and Bindi also just got engaged, so big congratulations to her as well.
I do want to do a quick retraction. There aren't meth gators. Really quickly, I'd said something about that, but police in Tennessee warn people don't flush your meth down the toilet or sewers because there is a potential to have meth gators.
I really appreciate the clarification.
Just wanted to clarify that.
That was good. So hold on to your meth is.
Please hold on to your meth.
All
Is what the,
You don't want meth gators out there.
No,
we don't want meth gators. And that took a weird turn. The producer took 2 steps up, and I know it's time to move on. Finally, the look on your face, not yours, Chris, yours here, Cam, in here, says it all.
Okay, so that's my daughter Layla, and I'm putting her hair in a ponytail, and I had to get her to take a picture of this because she's getting a little older. I used to do it all the time, almost every day, but as she got a little older, she's going off to school. I asked one more time, and she let me do it, and I had to capture it. I mean, I probably will have a few more left before she reaches that, the teenage years.
Sweet.
But I had to post that.
It goes
She's
fast,
my girl.
huh?
Man,
It goes
so
fast.
fast. It goes fast. Enjoy every second. Enjoy every ponytail.
I'm trying. I got 2 boys, but you never know.
In case they have long hair.
One of them does have long hair.
Yeah,
Lawson could definitely put it back into a ponytail.
That's a really good story for writing a book, like enjoy every ponytail. Or that sounds weird, but I still think it's a lovely.
So we have the name of our movie, and we have the name of my biography or something.
And
like
our
that.
news, right? Exactly.
So you guys are going to business together.
Yeah.
All right. And you're getting in the way of my bromance here.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
We'll come up with something, Cam, by the end of the show.
Okay, we got this.
Coming up by DBL, fighting your allergies the natural way. Me and Cam could do that.
Okay.
Let's do it together.
Yes, you can.
Unfortunately, this doesn't involve us. With bees, easy remedies you can do at home to start feeling better when we come back.
Hey, welcome back to Beauty Blast, guys. I'm Jeray for the Slay, and while we're here, let's go ahead and pull up those search bars, type in J-A-R-A-Y for the Slay, all one word, my friends, on all your social media platforms so we can be friends. Back to business. Welcome back to Beauty Blast, guys. Today, we're talking about some red light beauty tips and some of my favorite ways to save some time while you're getting ready. Today, though, I want to talk about traveling with your beauty tips. Now, when you're traveling with your beauty products, it's important not to overpack. Now, I know anything could happen while you're on vacation, whether you're at the beach, in the mountains, whatever you may. You want to make sure that you have everything that you need, but you don't need to overpack. So that's why I went ahead and made a little list for us so that we all know the expectation and that we're not just carrying a toolkit around with us, okay? Now, number 1, you want to bring the eye essentials. So some of my eye essentials are going to be a mascara. Full size or travel size is okay. If you need a travel size, check your local Sephora or even ask at a counter if there might be a sample size that you can try out before your actual vacation, okay? So you can do a travel size mascara. You can do a little bit of an eyeliner. I prefer to do a pencil liner when I'm traveling just because it's going to help to make sure that you have more flexibility with your looks. Now, another thing that I would recommend for eyes is 1 eyeshadow stick. Choose 1 and just make it neutral. So this way you can kind of be more flexible with your looks, whether it be more of a bronze, a blush color, or cream. You can kind of have a little bit more diversity with your looks by using a blush or bronzer, which we'll get to next. Now, another thing that you can do is get an all-in-one blush, bronzer, and highlight palette. These guys are great to make sure that you're all ready to go for any look. And last but not least, don't forget a tinted moisturizer. It has your SPF and your hydration. So guys, let me know if these beauty tips worked for your travel, and go ahead.
Welcome back to DBL. Many of us think that allergies are their worst in the spring when the flowers are blooming. But get this, late summer and early fall can be just as bad. So instead of turning to over-the-counter allergy relief, I'm buzzing with a natural way to combat your allergies on today's So Clear, sponsored by So Clean. Honey is a kitchen staple, but a lot of us aren't using it till its full potential. Buying honey locally can actually help clear your allergies. So, we're here at B Squared to learn about its many health benefits. Beth, the things I do for DBL Nation. But we're here to learn. So, what are some of the health benefits with honey?
Honey is like the original superfood. Honey is a antifungal, antibacterial, antiviral, and a natural humectant. It's been around for forever, so it's the only food that's actually without a shelf life. If honey is for allergies, pollen is like warp speed for allergies because you actually are ingesting your allergen. So bees go in a 2.5-mile radius from their location. Essentially, consuming honey from local beehives is like consuming an anti-venom. It gives you minute amounts of the pollen that you're allergic to and raises your tolerance level for that pollen.
How should one take it? Do we take it by the spoonful or do we just douse it in our meals?
By the quart.
Yeah. Especially if you're buying it locally,
that's right?
Yeah.
The recommendation is a tablespoon in the morning and a tablespoon in the evening. Okay, there's that. Okay, over your head, senor.
Oh, snap.
Okay, cool.
It's getting real.
A bee makes 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey in its entire life. It takes 2 million flowers to create a pound of honey.
Wow.
Okay, so see this big fat bee right here?
Yes, ma'am.
That's a drone. Those are boys. The rest of them are all girls.
Oh, wow. I like that type of party.
There you go. That's right. So do they.
How come they're just chillaxing?
Because bees are busy.
And for more ways to rest easy, call So Clean at 1-800-619-4147. This is B London with the Jive from the Hive, and we just got the buzz on local honey. Oh, behave. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Hi DBL Nation, it's Raquel here, and Chris and I saw Good Boys.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't even know like how to start this. It's about a group of 12-year-old boys who one of them really wants to go to a kissing party, and there's a lot of melee along the way. It involves drones, it involves drugs, and it involves a lot of stuff that I don't think 12-year-olds should be into, but I know they're into, and I'm kind of freaked out because I don't want to think about my future kids being like this, but they are.
Pulls back the curtain.
So like, were boys like growing up, were boys really like that?
It's also about the pursuit of drugs by high schoolers or college students? High schoolers.
High schoolers, yeah.
Yes, the pursuit of drugs.
It's kind of like a social commentary, I'd say, because I feel guilty for having fun the entire time.
Yeah.
Honestly, because I was like, this is pretty funny, but it has a lot to say. And I have to say my favorite part is that the boys were really respectful of women. I don't know if that was meant to be a joke in it, but I really liked that they are really enforcing that in movies these days. But what did you think of it?
Well, I mean, that part of it, I think, was just really showing off the difference in education in public schools today as to when we were kids. So all the boys were like, do I have consent before I kiss you? Before he got his first kiss? And, you know, but they did poke fun at the short-term relationships of middle school. So there's just flashing from one girlfriend to another. He's crying. It's the best. But yeah, the movie was great. Just a lot of, I would say, if you like South Park, if you like grotesque, raunchy humor, you'll love this movie.
It's a lot of that.
So if you're looking for a movie to go out to see, you're going on a date on a weekend night, you want to laugh, this is the one.
You kind of described it as like a modern day Stranger Things.
Yes, it's like Stranger Things today, but there's no fantasy or monsters.
You know what?
So what else will those kids get into?
I will tell you, if you find this kind of like gross humor funny, to go see it. Don't take your kids to see it, even though it's a movie about kids. I still can't believe their parents let them make this movie. Let's just say that. What would you tell people?
Well, yeah, don't bring your kids at all, but definitely go see it. If you want a funny adult a comedy, you'll love it. You'll be laughing from beginning to end. There's a lot of terrible things in there, but it is funny, and it really shows the innocence of children, because they're mistaking a sex doll for a CPR doll. They're like, yeah, that's my dad's CPR doll. They have no idea. They're just kids. So it's that kind of humor. It's great. You'll really enjoy it. So I would say if you're not going out to the movie theaters, don't go out of your way to see it. Wait until Redbox. It'll be just as funny as home.
I agree with that. Like if
Funny.
you're waiting for a funny movie that you can kind of like have a guilty pleasure and laugh at home, so you're not embarrassed about laughing at it at theaters, I'd recommend Good Boys.
Go see it.
See it.
Welcome back to DBL. Cam, have you heard of the app TikTok?
I have, only because my kids love it, and they produce pretty impressive videos on it, I gotta tell you.
All right, well, maybe we're about to see one, huh?
Okay. Ooh,
all right, this app has a new video creation taking the internet by storm, and it stars an adorable, not daughter, cat. Watch this. Oh, that was good.
That's impressive.
I don't know. I hope your kids' videos are better than those.
My daughter posted that.
That's hilarious. But cat videos, that's why the internet makes it great. Cat videos.
Yeah, everyone's can't wait for more cat videos. Erica, do we have some comments?
Yes, we do. Thankfully. Sierra says, can't wait for your Hallmark Christmas movie. You put me in the holiday spirit.
Very nice, Sierra.
Bob Tavares says, well, that's DBL for another day. A salute to their guest co-host, Cameron Matheson.
That's very kind of you. I loved being here, and you guys hopefully I'll come back, and
Yeah, we gotta
you come back to Home and Family, but all of you.
Yeah,
we'll just kind of keep on crossing back and forth.
Give our best to Lawrence, of course,
Yes.
Debbie, Laura Pearson, everybody, all the good people over there.
Yeah.
What a fun set to work on
It's
over
a fun
there.
set. The vibe, the energy about it reminds me of what you guys have here
Really?
too. It really does.
It's a similar day. It's a similar day.
It does. It feels like a similar day, and also there's just similar energy. You got it's a good group of people here. It's a good group of people there. So well done.
And positivity-wise, you guys don't always report on it's mostly really feel-good things. Am I right?
It's actually only really we don't really cover breaking news stories. We just keep things light and positive. We try to help. We do a lot of DIYs, crafts. We do cooking segments. If we're doing an interview, even if it's a big celebrity, we don't kind of go the celebrity gossip route. So
Right.
it's just really feel-good place, and it's an easy place to come to work. I look forward to it every day, and I think it's rare in this business that you can say that day after day. I love going to work.
All right, so check out Cam on Home and Family. It's awesome. It's a great show. And Cam, I got to tell you, you're an inspiration to me, man. Keep, what you do in your career is the career I kind of want to have. So
I appreciate you
keep
saying
doing what
that.
you're doing.
Thank you,
You're an inspiration, man.
You too, man. I appreciate that.
All right, buddy. Now it's official.
Romance!
Romance is just awesome. We'll see you guys tomorrow.